Hello, friends. Hello, panel. It is
Hello,
great to see you again. Hey, Kay, how are you doing today?
I'm good.
Good, good. We have I Don't Recall or Cherie. How
Greetings,
are you?
everyone.
It's great to have you on. That you're not driving is what I mean.
Are not an hour late. Yes.
Well, you're not driving. That always makes me nervous.
Uh,
So, all right, good, good, good. And someone we haven't seen, you might not recognize her little emblem, but inexplicable Susan is with us. It's been so long.
Hello,
Hello.
everyone.
We
I'm
are
so excited
so
to be
happy.
here.
Yes, we are so happy to have you. I just feel
Yeah.
like one of our long, long sisters has finally returned from the nether regions. And Alice, where's your picture? We have Alice.
Oh, I don't know. I see it on StreamYard, but I'm not seeing
Oh,
it
do you?
on YouTube.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't see it on StreamYard. Oops, so but oh
Well,
well.
it's strange. It asked me if I wanted to sign in with my YouTube or Facebook, and I was like, wait a minute. You've never asked me if I want to sign in with YouTube or Facebook.
Yeah, it's weird.
So I don't know if that's maybe got something to do with it.
Hmm. Well, I don't know. Well, you know what? We all know your voice, regardless of the little picture on the screen. So,
It's about hard not to.
yeah, we love it. We love it. Oh, that's awesome. Glad to have you guys here. I believe Jack will be joining us later at some point today. So, Uh, in the meantime, we have Shaz in the chat, and she says, "Hey, all from Oz. Hi, everyone on panel. Great to see 5 on panel. I know we're hopefully we'll get Jack, and there'll be 6 of us. That'll be great. Then we'll have plenty of chit chat and stuff after we get finished this afternoon. I forgot to ask Kay prior, so if she'd rather not, that's okay. But do you want to give an update on the news this week that came from the civil judge?
Yes, I will. So Daniel in the civil suit, as many of you probably already know, Daniel was released from that suit several months ago. And after they released him from the suit, they filed an appeal with the 10th Circuit, asking the judge to overturn summary judgment for the city of Oklahoma City because that was the deep pockets and the way to get paid. And just what on the 7th, what was that? Is this the 9th, day before yesterday? We were alerted that there were judgments in the civil case. There was a settlement, and those cases weren't consolidated yet for trial. I guess if they had overturned summary judgment and sent it back to federal court for trial, they would have had to consolidate them all. But it's been a mess this whole time with 4 different cases. And so they settled with, well, okay, backing up. When it went to appeal, neither Sherry Ellis or Carla Raines joined in the appeal. So they were finished. They were done. They were out of the civil suit. So a couple days ago, all of the rest of the women that were in, which was 9 of the original 11, they reached a settlement. Oklahoma City, their city council, I think they agreed to give them up to $25,000 each, which the negotiations ended at $18,500, so they got $18,500 each, and the whole thing is done now, over with. That's that. Of course, Daniel's frustrated because, like the charges against him were false allegations. The petition that they filed in the civil suit, none of their points were valid, and that's why they're ending up settling for $18,500. Their attorneys didn't know the case. Their petition was just trash. And, they were lucky they got $18,500 apiece. And I think maybe that's why they settled, because maybe the attorneys got nervous that if the judge didn't overturn summary judgment and bring the city of Oklahoma City back into the case so that they could take them to trial, that they were all going to walk away with zero. And they've been working on this case for free for 7 years. There have been so many filings. I have no idea how much money they've spent just on, the administrative part of the suit, and, flying accusers out to, in Janie Ligon's case, from her deposition, I believe that she went out to Florida, maybe. She never admitted to any of that, but I think they've advanced the women some money. They've paid some expenses that were going to come out of their $1 million settlement, and here they are splitting $18,500 with their attorneys at probably, at least I would say, probably 40%. So yeah, Daniel's frustrated, and at the same time, I think he's glad that part's over. And the news, reported it in just like the grossest way they could, like they always do, saying that, convicted rapist, that he's convicted of raping all of these women who got settlements, which, if 3 of these women, he was totally exonerated of all the charges against them, and they still paid those women. But, our local news people, they don't know this case either. So it's really frustrating. Stacy just spilled water all over the place. Bye, man. Will you bring a towel in here? Okay.
Hey, Stacy, glad you're up and around, feeling better.
Glad you're in here spilling water all over Kay's computer. Thanks, man.
Yeah, spill a little more. She needs a new one. Buy her a new computer.
Be so nice bringing dinner in here to me.
He is really a sweetheart.
He is. Okay, so that's that.
Okay, well, I did the math yesterday. I know it's so weird to hear me say that, but I did. I'm so proud of myself. And then I made the dumb thing. I said the dumbest thing I could say, me of all people. Well, actually, it's really easy to, because I was telling my class at school, we were doing math and stuff. And I said, hey, I have a math problem for everybody. I need some help. Anyway, I figured it out at 45% because I had heard on the Murdaugh trial the day before that if a case is in appeal, that the attorneys can get up to 45% of the award. Now, I realize that's in South Carolina or North Carolina or whatever, and we're talking about Oklahoma. But I took the highest percentage, 45%, and it worked out to only be, I think, a little over $12,000 for each accuser, and that would be a lot to me. To me, 12,000 would be huge, but I just, who knows what they're going to do with that money. And that's what they should. That's what they should. If they get the highest percent. Now, if it's not a 45% amount, then of course they're going to get a little bit more. But these are high profile attorneys. I don't know. Maybe they'll just say F it and give them, only take 30%. I don't see that happening, but maybe who knows. But the highest amount that these lady, or the lowest amount that the accusers will get will be about a little over 12. So who
They
knows?
also, the attorneys normally take expenses out before they distribute the funds. So no
Yes.
telling what their expenses have been.
Yeah. And yeah, exactly. And, it's going to be really interesting if they do that, if the attorneys do that, these accusers may end up with very little, less than 10. So, but
It's sad
anyway,
that they're getting anything. I'm
exactly.
very
Yeah.
upset about it.
Yeah.
People get paid for lying.
Yeah.
It's awful.
And, I kept saying all along, especially after the city, after the city was granted summary judgment and they dropped Daniel from the suit and all that, was all really good news. But I kept saying, well, I kept saying, I don't think they'll overturn the city's summary judgment. I think that, and Kay's been telling me all along, the city is going to settle. They're not going to just let this go. They're going to settle. They're going to get some amount of money. All I can say is at least it's not as much as they had hoped it was going to be. I don't know any other way to make it okay in my brain. So anyway, well, thank you for sharing that with us, Kay. On the Facebook Live front, just holding off on I honestly don't know the details about it, but I know that there was one that was done on Tuesday, but I don't know. I believe it was done as a premiere. I happened to be asleep when it happened, and so I don't really know what ended up going on or whatever, but I think they're holding off on that till they can work out how Jenny can manage to record an interview with Daniel and then present it later, because she's got a lot going on. She's got a lot of irons in the fire. So I think those are just some of the little things they're trying to work out so that it can be as effective as possible. I don't know why my Windows window won't close. Doesn't matter. Okay, so tonight we're starting a discussion about the accuser named Regina Copeland. In the summary of the cases and everything, it looks like she's number 13, and so that's how it'll be numbered in the summary that we'll read to you. But that's she's placed as number 13. So what we're going to do is we'll read to you. Cherie and Kay and I are going to take turns reading the summary. It's only 6 or 7 pages. And so we'll read that to you, and then we're going to kind of run through the police report, and I'll let you guys who are watching kind of see if you can pick up between things that we read to you in the summary versus what was said in the police report, and you can pick out the differences. And then so in order to keep it from going, past an hour and a half or 2 hours, because I really don't like to do that to you guys, we may or may not get to trial transcripts tonight, but if we can, we'll at least get started with them. And then you'll have more frames of references to go by each time we hear a part of transcripts. So, excuse me. So, Kay and Cherie, do you have your own document up, right? Or do you want to read from mine?
I have mine up.
I do. I do as well.
Okay, good. And where is my Share screen. I don't have anything that says share. Huh. Oh, right there it is. Duh.
She said,
I had a rough day today at work, so I'm really trying to make sure that I am not letting that flow over into our show tonight. Let me fix this screen out here. Okay, so you guys can see the whole screen. I'll start, and then Kay will take over with the next point. Does that sound fine, Kay?
Sounds
All
good.
right. Okay. All right. Regina Copeland. Daniel was found guilty on her charges. Date when the police solicited her allegation, which is the first contact. Phone call. That phone call was before October 13th, 2014. And remember, this case opened up on June 18th, 2014. So in October, the date of Detective Davis's phone call with Regina Copeland is not revealed in police reports. Count date, meaning the date that the alleged assault took place, was April 25th, 2014. One count and one verdict. It was rape in the first degree. He was found guilty and sentenced to 30 years for that charge. Regina's age at the date of the alleged sexual assault was 54. Okay, allegation summary. Regina Copeland told the detectives that after she dropped off a lady at a house, the officer stopped Copeland's vehicle for making an incomplete stop at a stop sign. She claims that after checking her driver's license, he asked her to step out of her car, and then he searched her car while she stood beside it. She said the officer asked, quote, "Have you been drinking?" End quote. Then alleged that he ordered her to pull down her pants and underwear, and she did so, exposing herself. She claimed that he said, quote, "It sure looks fat down there," end quote, and then said he smelled alcohol on her and was going to take her to detox. Miss Copeland said Daniel then allowed her, at her request, to drive her vehicle to a relative's house to park it there, which was on Northeast 24th Street, 3 houses west of Miramar. We'll show you pictures of that. While he followed her closely in his patrol car. She said she parked in front of her relative's house, and the officer stopped his car beside hers on the street, got out, and let her in. Then she claimed he drove her to a park at the end of the street on a house's lawn, the side yard of 2425th Northeast 24th Street on Miramar, and raped her there as she was bent over. She told Detective Davis that the officer gave her driver's license back to her before the alleged rape, and she thinks it fell out of her pocket when she had to pull her pants down. She also told detectives that after the alleged sexual assault, she walked back to her car and she noticed her apartment key was gone, but she was afraid to go back to the location of the alleged rape to look for it. At the time of Holtzclaw's trial, Copeland had 2 robbery convictions, one involving use of a firearm, and had been sentenced to 25 years total in prison. She served 12 and a half. Copeland used crack and alcohol and admitted that she had cocaine and alcohol in her system on the evening in question. Detectives found Regina Copeland's name by looking through Daniel's AVL records, and I know you guys have heard this, 100 times before by now.
I think that should say Varuna records, right?
Yeah, it should say Varuna. And where it says CIU records, it should say Varuna.
It might be
Oh,
Varuna
wait.
and CIU.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
think
Veruna.
AVL got inadvertently typed there. I just
Yeah.
want to point that
So
out.
AVL, Varuna, and CIU records to find names of women he ran through CIU when his patrol car was near a public park, abandoned school, the what is that, Cherie, the rapey schoolyard, the abandoned rapey schoolyard or
Yeah.
something. um, by Northeast 18th and Miramar. Again, this is a place that we've seen and heard and talked about before. Detective Gill noticed Regina Copeland's name was run by Daniel on April 25th, 2014. Detective Davis contacted Regina Copeland's sister, who related to Regina that the detective said, this is very important. The detective said that the detective told Regina's sister on the phone that Regina was a victim of sexual assault. There's all kinds of things wrong with that, just right off the top. Forget about the leading, but she's giving personal, private information to somebody other than the person it's intended for. Regina called Detective Davis on the phone. The date of that is unknown. On October 13th, 2014, nearly 2 months after Daniel was identified in local news reports as a serial rapist suspect, detectives Kim Davis and Valerie Holman drove to Garland, Texas to meet with Miss Copeland. The interview occurred at a Jack in the Box and was audio recorded. Miss Copeland told the detectives that she had seen articles about the officer on the internet, as well as his photo, after detectives contacted her to ask if she had been sexually assaulted. When Daniel encountered Miss Copeland on, well, let's see. Kay, do you want to take from here?
Sure.
Okay.
When Daniel encountered Mrs. Copeland on April 25th, 2014, she had 2 robbery convictions, one involving use of a firearm, and had been sentenced to 25 years total in prison. She admitted that she had cocaine and alcohol in her system on the evening in question, and she had been drinking alcohol earlier that day and possibly smoking crack. On October 13th, 2014, in a recorded interview, Miss Copeland told the detectives that the officer stopped her vehicle on the street for an incomplete stop at a stop sign. Unsure of the exact location, either on Kate or Kellam Avenues, but AVL showed it was Northeast 14th Street and Kellam. She said she thought the officer smelled alcohol on her. She said the officer searched her car and told her he would take her to detox. But then, she alleges, he ordered her to pull down her pants and underwear, which she did, exposing herself while she stood on the street. Miss Copeland said that she pleaded to be able to drive her car to a relative's house, and that Daniel then allowed her, at her request, to drive her vehicle to that relative's house while he followed her closely in his patrol car. The relative's house was on Northeast 24th Street, 3 houses west of Miramar. Although Miss Copeland wasn't sure of the street when she talked to Daniel. This location on Northeast 24th Street was near a school bus parking lot, just east of Miramar, where Northeast 24th Street intersects with Miramar. And see the photo there. After the initial traffic stop, according to Miss Copeland, the officer let her drive her own car to her relative's house. She claimed she parked on the street in front of her relative's house. She claimed Daniel followed her closely the entire way in his patrol car, parked beside her where she was parked in front of her relative's house, opened the door of his patrol car, and had her get into the back seat to take her to detox.
Kay, do you want to finish it up? Or I can? Okay, I can do it. Evidence of Daniel's innocence at the trial. Detective Davis contacted Regina Copeland's sister first and asked Regina to call her. Copeland later said during her police interview with Detective Davis on 10/13/2014 that the only reason I came forward is that Davis told Regina Copeland's sister that Copeland had been sexually assaulted. Copeland in police interview transcript with Detective Davis. And in the recorded interview with Detective Kim Davis, Miss Copeland said her sister told her that Detective Davis had called and said Copeland was sexually assaulted, which shows Detective Davis's bias and expectation that Miss Copeland was a victim. Regina Copeland then called Detective Davis over the telephone, and Detective Davis told Copeland that she was investigating an officer for being inappropriate with women. On October 13, 2014, nearly 2 months after Daniel was identified in the local news and news reports as a serial rapist suspect, Kim Davis and Valerie Holman drove to Garland, Texas to meet with Ms. Copeland. The interview occurred at Jack in the Box and was audio recorded. Ms. Copeland told the detectives during their Texas interview in person that she had seen articles about the officer on the internet after they called her to ask if she had been sexually assaulted. Before Copeland talked with Detective Davis and Holman in Texas, Copeland and her daughter got on the internet and looked up articles regarding Officer Holtzclaw and found a picture of him on the internet. Copeland's testimony about the patrol car's driving path was disproved by AVL. AVL shows Daniel never drove down the relative street where Copeland says she parked, and then he picked her up as he drove to the end of the street to rape her. Daniel's patrol car AVL shows that it was only parked for less than 4 minutes and 33 seconds at the location where Copeland alleged he raped her. The patrol car AVL shows it was moving at 9.0 seconds or 14 knots, and then was moving again at 9:15:33 at 2 knots. We already talked about that. Copeland's claim about the duration of the alleged rape changed. She initially told detectives, quote, yes, he ejaculated, end quote, because the alleged rape lasted for, quote, a long time, end quote. But then she said at preliminary hearing that the rape lasted, quote, for about 5 or 10 minutes, end quote. Until finally at trial, she testified it lasted, quote, maybe about 3 minutes or so, end quote, and, quote, not very long, end quote. The actual time the patrol car was stopped during which the alleged rape could have occurred was less than 4 minutes and 33 seconds. Copeland had used crack cocaine and alcohol. She admitted to having cocaine and alcohol in her system on the evening in question. And at the time of Holtzclaw's trial, Copeland had 2 robbery convictions involving use of a firearm and had been sentenced to 25 years in prison and served 12 and a half years. So, did I lose everybody? No?
No, we're here.
No,
Nope,
just
we're here.
trying to
And Jack has joined us.
Yes,
Hi,
he
Jack.
has.
Brother,
What up? I'm
Yeah,
late.
Jackie.
I'm late as a mother trucker. I apologize.
Oh,
We're
you're
glad you're
fine.
here.
You're not that late.
I do have an interest. I do have an interesting part of the reason I'm late, but it's not the entire reason, but at least part of the reason why. In 40 plus years of filing tax returns, my federal tax returns, so on and so forth, I got my refund from the federal in 8 days.
Oh,
Wow.
nice.
that's fast.
I've never seen it happen. I've had 14, to 20 days, but 8 days.
That's great.
Woohoo! Time to party.
I was just going to say, Jack,
And-
I was going to see if I could borrow some money.
Jack's buying
Well,
the chocolate.
Yeah.
Actually, our federal refund is less than our state refund, which is really strange, but whatever. I did want to make a notation about you just going through and reading, and I guess it just never really dawned on me that Rocky and Bullwinkle tried to take technology. I'm talking about the AVL and Daniels, them checking and saying that, well, he stopped here and he stopped here and blah, blah, blah. They couldn't prove that, but they certainly made the suggestion trying to prove this technology did something that it really didn't do.
Mhm.
It was really to me it's a lie,
Well,
I mean-
or at least a manipulation.
Yeah, big time manipulation, Jack. The way that they went through. I mean, just reading that whole thing there. I mean, the whole scenario is bloody nonsense. I mean, the way she's describing how it happened and her being bent over in the car and everything like that. Daniel must have brain damage because no matter what, his head would have been hitting off the bloody roof. You know what I mean? Whether it's
Absolutely.
inside, if it was inside, it would have been hitting off the roof. If it was outside, it would have been hitting off the roof at the top of the door. You know what I mean? It is just ridiculous.
Or he's
What
a
these
closet
women and what-
closet acrobatist.
Yeah, it must be, Jack, because I mean, the descriptions and that these women are given, especially when it comes to the car and how he's they're bent over inside the car and everything like that. Daniel's bloody 6 foot odds. There is no way that man could do that in that car without banging his head or having bumps or bruises or whatever. You know what I mean? And I'm sorry. Well, I'm no sorry, but people might not like what I'm going to say next. But the fact is, and I've said this before, Daniel is a good-looking man. And if I was fucking 20 odd years younger, you're damn tootin', I would go after him if I seen him in a nightclub or whatever. I wouldn't say no to Daniel. You know what, right? So these women that have came forward, I'm sorry, but they are a mess. They are a mess. Their looks are a mess. Their lifestyle is a mess. And Daniel had a lovely, gorgeous looking woman who was educated and had a job and everything like that. And these people are trying to say that he's going to, and excuse my language, but he's going to fuck up his relationship and his career to go about Oklahoma sexually assaulting these women. I don't think so. And I don't believe it for a fucking minute. And the fact that these statements and everything like that even got anywhere is a fucking disgrace.
Well, here's the thing, Alice. If he truly were a serial rapist, then having a good-looking girlfriend and him being a stud and all that really wouldn't come into play because, I mean, true serial rapists, it's not about that. It's about power. So,
Right.
I mean, we know that Daniel's innocent and we know that everything you're saying is true, but his girlfriend testified kind of to that effect at the trial, and it really it really went over like a lead balloon because I've been a victim advocate and worked with the YWCA for 8 years. And I mean, I've been exposed to all these things. I would know better than to say that at trial. That I think she said something like, if he wanted to have sex with someone, he would have found someone on the north side, or I can't remember exactly what she said, but it was like about the worst thing that she could have said at trial.
Yeah.
Because it is about power for true rapists.
Yeah. I understand what you're saying there, Kay. But what my point is that their stories, all their stories, do not fit anything. You
Right.
know what I mean? They changed them as probably, they've changed their stories probably less than they've changed their fucking knickers. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Oh, God,
So,
Alice.
I mean, I
Oh,
I
my
don't
goodness.
understand how it has even got as far as it's got because of the amount. And the fact that these detectives are phoning these women and saying, we've been told that you've been sexually assaulted by a police officer. No, it should have been the women saying to them, I've been sexually assaulted by a police officer. No, the other way about. And for there to be no questions to be asked along those lines of how this has all came about and everything like that is ridiculous and it is disgusting.
I think the most important thing here is that the AVL did not match her story about him following her closely home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Kim said she misremembered,
There you
Yeah.
go.
Kim
We'll-
knows better, so.
We'll see in the police report where Kim corrects her.
That's,
Yes.
Are we going to
Case
share?
10. Daniel knew that there was AVL in his car. Yes.
What he didn't realize, though, was that he thought that AVL was like a tracker device that you would put on someone's car if you were going to track them. He thought that all of the units were equipped with a tracking system on the car. He didn't realize that his computer system ran the AVL. He thought the computer was, all of the programs that he could access and everything. He didn't realize that. And he said, he didn't recall having any kind of instruction at Academy, about what your onboard computer does. Once he was out of Academy and got on the street, then, you learn just on the job how to do everything. So he just didn't have any recollection whatsoever of being advised at Academy about the AVL system. And apparently turning off the computer, the onboard computer, which disables the AVL, the tracking. Apparently that what had been a recent common problem department-wide, because they had recently been sent out a memo about not turning it off. So there's that.
Yeah.
We learn all our shit the hard way.
It's true. Very true. Yes. Some of us takes longer than others. So, okay. So I have, let me show you. First, I want to show you, just so you can kind of have an idea of what all of these streets are that we were talking about. And I'll show a couple different things here to kind of help you get an awareness or an idea of what it is, because it can be very, very confusing. And, all the 24th, 23rd, 25th, and blah, 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 blah can be really confusing. Oh, I have no idea what's happening. Okay. So what I have here is just the route. Oh, is my screen flashing to you guys, or can you see that? Or is it just
It's flashing.
It's flashing.
It's flashing.
Do you have your trench coat on or what?
my trench coat?
Why are
Said you're flash. You said you're flashing us. So.
No, it's not.
Susan and I are the only ones who don't
Sorry.
get it.
My bad. I'll show myself out. Sorry.
All right, I feel like a dumb girl.
Because the screen is flashing. He's just making fun. Do I have a trench coat on
yeah.
flashing
I'm
everybody?
a little slow.
Well, I don't know why this is flashing, and I don't want to close it. I mean, I could, but I don't want to close it down. So hopefully I don't explode here or something.
So anyone who has seizure disorder
You
should close their
close your
eyes right
eyes.
now.
Right.
Well, I'll just show this really quick, and then I'll just actually bring up some ABL pictures that won't flash. I hope. This is really bugging me.
Just do it. Do it real fast. Just do it real fast.
I'm trying. So down here at the bottom in the left, if you can see, I've got an R that stands for Regina. This is where she got stopped at 14th and Kellum. This is the route that she drove, not that she drove, that she claims, but that Daniel pulled her over here and he drove her along this red line here. And then it cuts over to Miramar right about here. Now here is a big road, a big street here, kind of big street. It's Northeast 20th right here, but it jumps over to Miramar right here. And unless, what I'll try to do so that it's still going to flash. This is the relative's house right here, where the white arrow is. This is where the alleged assault took place. This over here is the bus barn. And so he allegedly drove from there to here. Well, she says, now Regina says that he brought her up this street right here with that's lined in black and waited here while she parked her car. And then she got in and then came over, and then he drove her around back to Miramar over here, and then evidently just turned over into here somewhere and sexually assaulted her right next to a house.
9 o'clock at night, right on the road, right next to a house. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
That house had boarded windows on that side.
Yeah, I
remember.
The house had.
Still, I mean, it's a neighborhood.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's going to be nooks and crannies in that you could maybe go somewhere and get a quickie or whatever without being seen or something like that. But the way that she's talking about how that has occurred, there is no way in hell. I mean, that was what looked like a school bus depot or something like that on the right-hand side. You try to tell me that there's no security guards or anything like that are there keeping an eye on the buses and everything like that for getting damaged and stuff. People walking by, people coming out of their houses, taking their dog a walk or something like that. I mean, it's just ridiculous. And the more we get into it, it is even more ridiculous that it's got as far as it's got. And there is an innocent man sitting in jail for 263 years.
Well, I mean, not to mention all the lights that you'll see in the photographs, because she said it was dark. I mean, you'll see there are lights everywhere.
Yeah, I'll bring up some photographs in a few minutes and show you. Now,
she was worried. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
She was worried about, her car getting robbed or broken into or whatever, but nobody was going by to see her. I'm being smart. Sarcastic.
Well, that we do too. I mean, you might as well be sarcastic with us because it's pretty legit. So it's okay. Now here is a aerial view of the route. Back down here, we've got Kellum, 14th and Kellum, and then, like I mentioned here, and then it comes over here to the big street, which is 20th. Northeast 23rd Street, and then
jogs over.
Yeah, it jogs over on Northeast 23rd to here. Now, Kay pointed out something to me last night, and on a lot of these, and I'll show you mine in a little while, what I try to do with these when I see them. But Kay pointed out something last night, and I know it's kind of hard to see because it's pixelated because I've got it blown up so much. But there's several parts here where there's a spot where his AVL picks up, and they're like right on top of each other. Here's one right here, and then here's another one right here. So this is the street that her cousin lives on, that she claims they drove down, but there's no AVL. You can see no AVL spots there, none. So he drove up here. Kay made a really good point that when he drove this way, it's possible that he made a U-turn right here and then was facing south, because this is north. No, what did you say?
No, first
Oh.
he drives up, and the house that he called in the location, the house where she says he raped her, I believe that he pointed his headlights at the front of that house because he calls out on radio traffic that exact street address as his ending time, because he called it in to transport her. So I believe that he pointed his headlights at the front of that house. He read the address off of it. And then he probably went ahead and pulled around to the side. He probably let her out right there so that people wouldn't see that she was getting out of a police car, so she wouldn't be labeled a snitch. And then she went toward her cousin's house, and he goes a little farther and flips a U-turn before he gets to 25th Street, because these plots are stepping on each other. So he comes back down, and then he turns right and goes down 23rd Street and turns right and goes up Highland. And then I think it's interesting how the city, where the city of Oklahoma, where Oklahoma City Police Department decided to end the plotting. I would like to see what he did for the next 10 minutes. Was he circling back around to see if she truly was going to her cousin's, or if she was out walking around or walking back to get her car or anything like that? But they stopped the plotting of the map.
Yeah. Yeah, suspiciously. Okay, so there is, fudge. So here's I don't know why it's flashing. I closed it and reopened it, but whatever. But this is the house here. 2425 right here is the address. The windows are have slats on them or whatever, so they can't be seen. This is the driveway here that it talks about. And this is where she claims that he pulled over right next to this house and sexually assaulted her. Just insanity.
He probably
God,
go back to that view, because where he flipped a U or turned around is probably that driveway on the right, that opening. He probably pulled in there and did backed up.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't make it all the way to the 25th Street.
No.
So that makes total sense.
So he did that, and he came back around.
Yeah. Then he went back out that way to 23rd to Highland. So this is the cousin's house. I'm not going to go down the street. Susan and I we took a whole trip around Manitowoc and Two Rivers and everything one day. Like this. It was so much fun. Anyway.
Yeah.
But this is the house here where the cousin lived, where she claims her and Daniel drove up this street. Him following her. Okay, I'll close that because that's really
obnoxious. This is awesome to see, Rhonda, to actually see the places. Yeah.
I didn't realize it was right by the road like that. I kind of pictured it like between two houses, like a yard.
It's on the road.
Wow. Unbelievable.
Liam, Rhonda, Liam's asking, are there no times associated with those diamonds?
There are.
I'll grab that one now. Let's see.
Could you see the lights in those?
Yes, I also have pictures of the lights.
I didn't notice.
Let's see what I've got going on here.
The ABL points maps are really confusing, Liam. I mean, they're super hard to read because their times are all over the top of each other.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. let's see. I wanted to make a slideshow for you guys with this, but I'm going to have to quit my job because I can't give as much time to this case as I want to.
Oh, you
Yep.
can't quit your job.
So here's where they're coming from the south on Miramar. This is Miramar right here. I did these pictures. Kay and Cherie and I did these a long time ago. Now she claims, and we'll see a little later in one of the transcripts, that she talks about how dark it was. It's nighttime, 9 o'clock ish, right? This bus barn is loaded with lights all around it. We even drove down via or Google Earth. We drove down the streets on Google Earth to see where there were street lights, and there's plenty of street lights here. It would have been dark, but it wouldn't have been pitch dark like she tries to imply that it was so dark she couldn't see. So this is us kind of
If the door was open, she was leaning in the back door, the car lights would have been on, right?
No, he
Yeah.
has his car lights disabled.
yeah, his
Oh,
car
okay.
lights
For
disabled.
security.
Oh, that's
for
right.
himself.
That's right. Yeah.
So this is just facing off of 25th Street here. And these are lights, street lights.
Big light
right
poles.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
this
see
is
that
25th.
light pole right across the street from where she says
Yeah.
on the
And yeah,
corner
she
there.
was sexually
And-
assaulted right over here.
Uh,
This
Did
is a
not
little farther
happen.
back, just so we can show street lights. We wanted to show street lights. The cousin's house is right over here, just past this one right here. I don't know if
You
we
know,
went that far back. Yeah,
if
right.
there were a car coming down, what street is this? The one her cousin lived
This
on?
is the one
Or
the cousin
her?
lives on. Mm-hmm.
If there were
Right
a
here.
car coming down that street, he would not have been able to see it. Somebody could have drove right up on him.
Yeah.
It's more
Right?
likely that there would have been a lot of traffic on Miramar because Miramar is one of the main cross streets, just like
Yeah.
Island is.
Yeah,
And
I'm just
so
thinking
people-
he could have seen him coming, but from
Yeah.
here, he couldn't have seen a car coming.
No.
No. I mean, Katniss asking the same as what I did. Did that parking bus lot have a security guard or a doggo
No.
security?
No, it didn't have security. And if it
Really?
did, it was way back in the way back here. If it did,
It's fenced
This is-
in.
this is
Well-
the house where the cousin lived right here.
Okay.
The rock house. The rock house. I didn't mean it that way, but
Right. Well, I mean,
Crack
I
up.
mean, if that was in the UK, if that bus depot was in the UK, it would have had a security guard.
and it may
Because-
have. I have some more. Let me see my other ones that I have in there as well.
We've got little shits that live in the UK,
I know.
and teenagers, when they're bored and they've got nothing to do, they would climb over that fence and they would be jumping about the buses, climbing on the roofs, everything like that. You know what I mean? If there was a bus there with no wheels or something like that, they'd probably try and open it and get into it, and you know. So that's why I'm asking about whether it had security or no, because something like that here in the UK would have had security guards, whether it was one guy with a dog or just a guy itself. There would have been security that would just go round maybe every few hours or whatever. So, but that location, you're guaranteed that somebody somewhere in one of these streets could walk right past there. So that would be the stupidest place ever to try and stop somebody to do what she's trying to say that Daniel done.
Yeah.
R. William says, do the buses have dash cams on them? I know that they do now. That's a good question. Although I think since those are parked and it's nighttime, that the dash cams wouldn't be
It wouldn't have
running
been on.
if the
Yeah.
buses aren't running.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Right.
And I'm sure those buses have been in the barn since probably 5 p.m.
Yeah. Now this is if this is an aerial view of the bus. Here's where she was allegedly raped. There's the cousin's house. This, if there was security, and I really don't feel like there was, but they would have been housed in here, but I don't feel like there was. Now, all of these little things that you can see in green, you probably can't see them very well on the screen, but these are little, I put little arrows because this is everywhere there's a bus light. I mean, there's parking lot lights in the bus barn. So it's fairly well lit, honestly. Street light right here. There was street lights right here and down here as well. So
Can't see your cursor anymore for some reason.
because I'm on a different kind of. Oh, there we go. It made it bigger. I couldn't make it. So anyway, can you see that a little bit better now? The arrows and the.
Yeah,
Okay.
I can see your cursor now too.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it kind of melts with the color in the screen. So anyway, that's kind of an overhead view of the bus barn and where there's plenty of street lights for sure. Now there's also trying to think of where I have it. Let's see. I might have it in oh god. I don't remember if I made it into a PDF or not. I think I just did it on my own. I know what I'm talking about, what I'm saying. I'm sure you guys have no idea what I'm mumbling about, but let me get to this these AVL pictures here for you, and then we'll go over the police report. Okay.
I mean, that's it. The more and more you delve into this case, it makes me frustrated and angry that these women were allowed to flip-flop with their statements, change their statements, especially by the time it got to trial, because the same thing happened in the Luke's case and all. They flip-flopped their statements, everything got changed before trial, and it still got accepted. None of this should have been accepted.
Agreed. We definitely agree. Well, because it's just words really and pictures that they use to convict him.
Did Daniel's attorney point out the inconsistencies in her statement during trial? Do you know?
I don't know exactly. I know that there were some, and when we do get to the parts with trial transcripts, we'll be able to point them out. But if we can get to that tonight, I'm not sure if we will or not, but we'll try.
He did at least a couple.
He did some things, yeah.
With Kim, more with Kim, I thought, than Kim Davis than with Regina. But
yeah, agreed.
And for sure, he pointed out that Daniel's AVL shows he never went down that street that she claims that he followed her down.
Right.
Wow.
Which wouldn't that be enough to exonerate him? You would think.
Yeah.
Yes.
30 freaking years.
Yeah.
I think that's reasonable doubt, right?
30 years.
Definitely reasonable doubt. Yeah, 30 years on this charge.
Jesus Christ.
So this is Miramar, going north and south right here. Now going up is north. Well, and I'm not trying, please don't. Yes, obviously going up is north, but this is now he's come up here and possibly turned around in this driveway that's going to be over here. And this is the little 4-minute and 33-second time period where she claims she was raped.
I wonder if he just stayed sitting there, kind of waiting to see if she would come back around.
He might have.
I think that's entirely possible. It's completely possible.
I mean, he could have been doing some paperwork right then while
Yep.
he was waiting to see if she was going to come back around,
Yep.
because that would be a good out of the way place for him to do something like that, catch up on his log sheet.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe he
Making
called his girlfriend. Did he have a cell phone?
I think that would have been, he did have a cell phone, but his records came in. If he would have had a
Okay.
call during that time,
yeah.
Okay.
we'd know about
It would
that.
have showed. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so here's Miramar again, and this is where I've come in and blown it up and then put in the black spots where and here's again where, like Kay was saying, he's just kind of right on top of each other. Now this one, it doesn't have the times in it of the different things, which I think is interesting. This one also does not have. This is just like the one the first one I showed to you. Only this one's not in color.
They were just using him for different purposes at the trial. So if they were
Yeah.
trying to, you can't use an exhibit. Look at that. That's a mess.
Yeah, this
You're
is
going to
just,
try to show something with all of that.
Yeah.
It doesn't show the jury anything. So there's
And it-
nothing nefarious about.
No. I'm not saying that there is. I just no, I don't mean that. But what I do try to do, and it's so hard, is to go through all of these and match it to its time. But
Mhm.
there are so many of them so close together. It's been for me almost impossible to try to get the right time matched to the right spot. But these are all 909:53. There's two right together right there. 909:48, 909:53, 9:10:23, 9:15. So this is obviously right here where he did whatever, he was slowing down or whatever. But then again, up here, you have the 9:15:56, 9:15:47. And this is where he just probably, like Kay has said, turned around and was waiting to see, because this is 24th Street here, or not 24th, 25th Street here.
Yeah.
Right here.
Yeah, which is understandable. He could have been doing anything at that point. He could have been putting in the details that he just stopped her, anything like that. Like he says, he could have been sitting there waiting to see, because she said that she was going to her sister's house. People who use drugs aren't very trustworthy, and they lie a lot. So maybe he sat there to see if she was just going to go back round, jump back in the car, get back in her car, and drive away. There is a couple of explanations.
Well,
to
her
why
car
he
wasn't
didn't
really
do that.
there.
Yeah, her car's not really there.
She says that she brought her car there, but he transported her there. Was she going to walk back however far that is to get her car?
That was quite a ways, actually.
It was
couple
about
miles or something.
a couple
wasn't it?
miles, I think.
Yeah.
Hey, TJ, R. William, Liam, several people have dropped in. It's great to see you guys. TJ is familiar with the area. Well, I don't know if he's like familiar, but he knows the area we're talking about. Yes, I'm going back and trying to catch some comments really quick here. There were street lights that we were able to find. Okay, now he sees them good. Do the buses have dash cams? Let's see what TJ says here. Bus barns here don't have security, only police patrols. So, thank you.
I like Shazzy's comment. Shaz says, "This whole story that makes no sense. It's so convoluted and screwed up. I'm just stunned he got 30 years for rape, yet she got 25 years for armed robbery. Lying bitch."
Oh boy.
I completely agree.
Oh yeah. Okay, so Where did this supposedly happen? Oh, so you figured it out. Yeah, it was over by Crescent Hills or Crescent, whatever, the rapey schoolyard. It's like in the area of
No,
Highland
the
18th.
bus,
Oh, yeah, Miramar.
Miramar
Yeah,
and 24th near the bus
Yeah.
yard.
yeah. TJ says that's kind of downtown. 23rd is a main bus street.
Yeah.
And he
Just,
says, I grew up south side, but went to school down near there.
Okay. Yeah, so he knows a little bit about what's there.
That was a main busy street.
Main
he
busy
said.
street.
Yeah, 23rd Street is a main cross thoroughfare there. Through town, through all of Oklahoma City, actually.
Gosh, don't be sorry. The more we love you guys to ask questions. Please ask any questions because that's how we can help bring awareness to to this case and to the details of the case that people refuse to consider, to open their minds to.
Yeah. Liam says they could have cleaned it up by having a heading saying all times are on 24/25/2014 and not redundantly put in PM on a 24-hour timestamp. That was deliberate confusion of evidence.
Oh, on the time. Yeah, it's really strange because there are some ABLs that I've looked really closely at that have military time. I'm thinking that's what he's talking about. That have military time, but not very many. So yeah, it's I have no idea what that's doing there. My computer was getting whacked out. Okay, so I see what I'm trying to share, but you don't see what I'm trying to share because guess what? I didn't put it there. All right, so we're gonna take a look at the police report now. I thought I saw a question. Oh, okay. So here's the. Oh, sorry, I'm struggling to. Okay, here's the right window.
Struggles.
I'm struggling. I'm much better now at screen sharing, but when I'm trying to screen share so many different things, it's really that gets more difficult. So I apologize.
Welcome to my world. Well, welcome to my world.
Yeah, no kidding, for sure. Okay, so kind of like I did before, I just went through and I highlighted some things that I thought were, worth remembering or mentioning. But if I put it in this pink color, it's kind of a bigger deal. So I'll try to not. I'm not going to read all of it, but I'll hit as much of it as I think is going to apply to the other stuff. So I always like to point this out in the police reports because it's worth just like pounding into everybody's brains. This is Kim Davis speaking here. During this investigation, Officer David Gill was assigned to the Sex Crimes Unit to assist with some of the research involved in the case. He was attempting to locate the names of other possible victims. Officer Gill advised me Regina Copeland was a possible victim. She began her research to find Regina and found a telephone number for a relative in Texas. And that's when she called the sister in Texas and told the sister that that Regina had been sexually assaulted by an Oklahoma City cop. And so she says, Regina called me over the telephone. I explained I was investigating a case involving an officer who had been inappropriate with women. Regina told me an Oklahoma City police officer had sexually assaulted her. No, Kim, you told Regina's sister that, and Regina's sister told her that. Is my opinion of that. Then she asked, can I interview you? They made arrangements for Valerie Holman and her to go to Garland, Texas. They were always very willing to drive wherever they had to drive to make a victim.
How much time was there between the call to the sister and Regina's callback?
I
don't think there was much time. I can't remember
Okay.
think it was a pretty quick
right now, but
turnaround.
I think it wasn't a lot of time,
Okay.
like a day or so.
Yeah, it
Okay.
was
Enough time for them to get online and do some research
Yeah.
and her to
Right.
get her story
Yeah.
sorted out.
Right.
Because those phone calls aren't recorded. There's no recording of Kim's phone call with the sister or of Regina Copeland's phone call to Kim Davis.
Uh-huh.
As
Right.
far as I know, the only recording we have in this case is the recording at Starbucks when
Jack in the Box. Yeah.
Jack in the Box, sorry,
That's
when Davis and Homan went there.
yeah.
So we know that Officer Gil or whatever, how do we know that she told the sister, or he told the sister that her sister had been sexually assaulted?
No,
He
Kim
didn't.
Davis told her that.
Oh, how
He
do we
just-
know that? How do we know that?
He gathered the information for Davis to approach her. Where is that testimony, Rhonda?
It's in here. It's in the police report.
Mm-hmm. Where's that say?
It's not right there. It's somewhere farther down.
Well, I guess we're going to come to it. I guess.
Yeah,
Somebody testified to that. Is that?
I think Kim Davis wrote it actually in a report.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's in the report coming up because this is not very with supplements and stuff like that. It doesn't all fall in line like in a nice timeline. Always. I think it's in here. If not, it's in one of the transcripts.
Okay.
Well, it's funny as well how they take a tape recorder to that bit. Now, mind Bullwinkle or Blinky isn't techno savvy. So, but for this one, they take a tape recorder. But for the other one, they didn't. No, even a phone.
Yeah. It's selective what they do when they do it. So we know that. So they made the arrangement to they went to Jack in the Box, and Kim Davis says we brought a tape recorder and recorded the interview. I've listened to the interview. I haven't. I thought about playing it for you, but it's really about 45 minutes of not a lot of. I mean, she talks about the alleged assault, but she talks more about herself. Regina Copeland talks more about herself personally, and then just a very small amount of time is spent talking about the alleged assault, and it's stuff that we've already read in the summary and that we're going to read in here. It's not really a whole lot different than that.
If we end up doing one or both of the transcripts next week, we could cut that part where she describes the assault just so people can hear her tell it in her voice.
Yeah.
Without listening to the full 45-minute interview.
That's a good idea.
That'd be good.
That's a good idea.
We can link that interview so people can listen to that on their own if they want to hear the whole thing.
I'd like to hear it.
That's a good idea. Thank you. Okay, so then they talked about where she lived and where she lived prior to moving to Garland, Texas, and a lot of that. And there's a lot of that in the interview as well. She's asking about different addresses here and why were you back in Oklahoma City? And there's a big thing in the trial that goes on about that, which is really confusing, and it's really it's kind of not important really. So I'm not even going to get into it, but it's a bunch of, this aunt died. No, it was my aunt, but this other one was my cousin's mother, or my grandmother. It's just crazy, and they died within days of each other, so it got really confusing. So she said that the incident occurred at the end of April or the first part of May, and Kim Davis eventually let her know that it was on April 25th. So she was right there in the time frame. She said
I bet she was given that information in that
I'm
phone
sure.
call.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
I personally don't have my doubts, but or don't have any doubts. She said, Copeland said that she went to Northeast 23rd Martin Luther King to drink. Detective Holman corrected her. It wasn't actually where she said it was, and that's pretty accurate. We did do some mapping and found out that she had the wrong place that she was going to drink. But she would go into, there was a parking lot at this place that they would go to behind a bar or liquor store or something. And, all these people would go out to this parking lot and just drink and do drugs and whatever. And so that's what she was doing that night. And while she was there, she gave a girl a ride home to the area around Northeast 16th and Kellum, near a school. And I just think it's funny that she just gave a girl a ride home. And she says somewhere else that she doesn't know the girl's name. She doesn't really know her. She's not a friend. She just knows her from drinking at the park, blah, blah, blah.
She's an associate, don't you know?
An associate.
Rhonda, just before you start again, TK is saying, if you need recon pictures of this place, I'll be close to that area tomorrow.
Oh, hey, TJ, we'll take any pictures you want to share. Any pictures that you want to give us, that you want to take, or video, whatever, we're happy to take it. We will use it and share it and make reference to what happened where and everything. So please feel free to share with us. And thank you. So she says, Regina said that she had been drinking, but she wasn't drunk. And that's kind of what all alcoholics say. Yeah. And she admits to being an alcoholic. So,
Yeah.
She said the officer stopped her at a stop sign. She doesn't know if she was on Kate or Kellum. It turned out it was Kellum, because they could tell that by ABL, of course. She said she was facing north. Then she said the officer turned on his overhead lights to pull her over. She doesn't know what time it was, but stated it was dark outside and it was before midnight. Well, don't worry. Kim's going to give you the time. You'll be fine. She pulled over. The officer came up to her car, told her he pulled her over because she had not made a complete stop. He asked her for her driver's license at 14th and Kellum. She gave it to him and he went back to his patrol car because that's normal. That's what they do. You give your license, they go back to the car and they run you, right? She said the officer was gone for a minute. Lucky her, because anytime I get pulled over, I'm sitting there for 10 or 12 or 15
forever. Yes.
Yeah. And then he came back to her car. He told her to step out of the car, and she did. Here's where it starts to get funky. She was standing beside her car door. She said the officer searched her car for a few minutes, but he didn't find anything illegal. Regina said the officer asked, quote, "Have you been drinking?" End quote. She doesn't remember what she answered. Either you were drinking or you weren't, and how could you not remember what you answered? If she said up there earlier that she said she wasn't drunk, then her answer should have been, yes, but I'm not drunk.
Well,
anyway,
people lie.
Yeah, people lie. So I've heard. The officer told her, so she doesn't remember what she answered, but the officer told her, well, then pull your pants down. Told her to pull down her pants. You don't remember if you're drinking, and pull down your pants. I'm kidding. She said she asked him, are you supposed to do that? The officer said, quote, I can do anything, end quote. I can't even imagine Daniel even speaking those kinds of words.
Are you supposed to do that? What a
Yeah.
stupid question.
I don't know, you guys. I would have been saying, excuse me, I'm going to leave now. First of all, I wouldn't have stepped
Yeah.
out of my car. I don't think. But anyway, this is what they did. So Regina said she pulled down her pants and her panties. The officer said, quote, it sure looks fat down there, end quote. She pulled her pants back up. The officer said he smelled alcohol and he was going to take her to detox. This is not the first time we've heard that he was going to take someone to detox. I think they're calling the drunk tank detox, but that's just because detox, and this is really unimportant to say, but detox is someplace where you check in and you spend several days detoxing from whatever it is that you're on, drugs or alcohol or whatever.
Yeah,
Anyway.
I don't think she means that. Yeah.
I don't think so either. Anyway, she said, quote, please let me go home, end quote. She told the officer she could drive home. The officer told her she would only be in detox for a couple of hours. Regina said she didn't want to leave her car in the area where he stopped her. She explained it's a 2006 Ford Escape and she didn't want to leave it on the side of the road. The officer told her nobody would break into the car. She argued and said, yes, they will. The officer, she told the officer she wanted to take it to her relative's house that is by a bus storage place. Regina said the officer let her drive her car to the relative's house and that he still had her driver's license and followed her in his scout car. Now we already know that that's not true. She said she parked her car and locked it. That's important. Locked it. If we get to it tonight, you'll see why, or I'll try to remind you next time. When she got to the officer's car, she asked for her driver's license back. He told her he would give it to her. The officers told her to get in his car. He did not search her. She got into the back seat. She said the officer circled the corner and parked on the grass by the school buses. He got out of the car, opened her back door, and told her to step out. Regina said she stepped out of the scout car. Officer told her to pull her pants down. She complied. He told her, turn around. She turned around and faced the back seat of the scout car. The suspect unfastened his pants. And I know this is going to sound really like, why are we discussing this? But it really is important. I know that Kay and Cherie and I had a talk about this a long time ago. Unfastened is different than unzipped.
Yeah.
Unfastened, you flipped open a button or a snap, to me.
And you have to take its belt off first.
Well, yeah, that Velcro duty belt that goes.
Yeah.
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 And has a gun attached to it, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Same thing with Shardarian Hill in the ER. He took his. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
The suspect unfastened his pants. He told her to bend over. She complied. He put his penis in her vagina and had sex with her until he ejaculated. This is important. She said when the suspect was assaulting her, he said it was, quote, real tight, end quote.
Oh, shit.
She said he had a big penis. She said when the officer finished, he said, quote, I'm going to let you go, end quote. It's just the weirdest conversation that she claims was going on. Regina said the officer drove off. She walked to her car, noticed her apartment key was gone. There's a big to-do about the keys. She didn't want to go back to the location where the officer assaulted her to look for the key because she was afraid she would see him. She said she went to Northeast 10th and Lottie. There is a house she goes to in that area to drink. She went to the house and drank alcohol. After she was finished drinking, she went to her brother's house because she didn't have her apartment key and had no way to get into her apartment. She said there is not an office at her apartment complex, So there would have been nobody there to let her inside. That's going to be disputed, I believe, in at least preliminary. I'm not sure about trial. Okay. But there's a big thing about the key. And there is an office, well, not an office, but the manager lives on site, and she had already gone to that manager's apartment and been asked to be let into her apartment in the past. So when she got to her brother's house, John Copeland, she told him a police officer stopped her and made her pull down her clothes. She did not tell John about the rape. She said she slept on the couch at John's house. Regina said after I called her about this incident, she told her younger brother, David Copeland, what happened. I asked why she didn't report this to the police. She gave several reasons, and it's all the same that we've heard from all the others. One of the things she says, she didn't have healthy boundaries. She was ashamed, and she didn't want to go to the police since the police did it. Standard line. Regina said this was the first and last time she'd ever seen the officer. Right after this happened, she started making plans to leave Oklahoma. She said this incident is the reason she moved to Garland, Texas. I can't remember if we're going to read this part of the transcript or not, but she moves a lot. Regina moved a lot, not, so to me, it's no big deal that she was moving to Garland, Texas.
Well, I think she was being evicted from her home, and
was.
The house that her brother lived in, where she spent the night, that was the mother's house, who had just recently passed away.
Yep.
So I don't know what happened to that house, if they ended up selling it, or I can't remember what that situation was, but
yeah,
she was probably going to be moving anyway.
Yeah, exactly. And she had been evicted, and I think that's in the preliminary. She had been evicted, or might be in the police report here, because Kim Davis is going to interview the managers of the apartment, so we might see it. Excuse me. That was the first time she said this. The reason she said after I contacted her, Kim Davis says, Regina said after I contacted her and told her she had been sexually assaulted, she had her daughter look on the internet for any information about this officer. Remember, Daniel was arrested in August, and we're into October, so Daniel's all over the internet and the news. Her daughter found the articles, and she saw the picture of the officer. She said, that is the officer who assaulted me. And the thing is that, yeah, she probably did recognize him because he did have legitimate contact with her. Because he pulled her over. So, but there's all the nice dirty details in those articles, to help her, her make a story. And then whatever she didn't get right, Kim Davis, I'm sure, filled her in. So this is talking about, this is physical evidence. You guys, this kills me. Every time I read one of these police reports and it says physical evidence, here's the physical evidence: AVL maps, AVL movie, dispatch radio traffic, CIU radio traffic, and one CAD call. That's the physical evidence. That's it.
Jesus.
There's nothing else. I think that's huge.
Her word. Her words.
Yeah, her words.
Her lies.
Yes. So Sergeant Hill sent the AVL maps for Officer Holtzclaw's vehicle for 4:25:14 from 6 minutes before 8 to 9:21 in the evening. And this was the date that Regina was assaulted. The AVL shows Officer Holtzclaw at Northeast 14th and Kellam from 8:54 to 8:59. 5 minutes.
What?
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, 5 minutes.
Okay.
Normal. Stopped her, pulled her over, found out she was drunk, and gets her in the car to drop her off at her relative's house. 5 minutes. That's all that would take.
I thought it was 9 o'clock.
Well, this is when he pulled her over.
Oh. Okay.
at the original stop. Yeah.
Okay.
Then that coincides with Regina's statement that she was stopped on Cater Kellum. His vehicle shows to be moving again at 2103, and he drives north to Northeast 24 in Miramar and arrives between 2110 and 2115 hours. This coincides with the statement that he followed her to a relative's house on Northeast 24th Street near the bus barn. Does not lie, because he was never on Northeast 24th.
Yeah, but notice how she doesn't give the path.
Right. Yeah.
Mm.
She
Yeah.
leaves out. She gives the first and the last.
Yeah. She doesn't want to be caught in a lie in her police report.
Well,
And don't ask any questions.
Yeah.
She just misremembers.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that really
She was
pissed me off.
confused or whatever.
Yeah, wait till you guys hear that when it comes up in a few minutes. It's going to blow your mind. Well, it did mine. So this coincides with Regina's statement that he followed her to a relative's house on Northeast 24th Street near the bus barn. No, it doesn't. First of all, there's no proof that she drove her car anywhere. Where is that proof?
Mm-hmm.
There's no AVL on her fucking car. Sorry. Earmuffs. I always forget to say earmuffs until after I said the words. So, and then, to say that he followed her to, she says here, to a relative's house on Northeast 24th Street. And that's just a blatant lie right there. When the vehicle is moving, the AVL hits points at every 5 seconds. So we've already tried to talk about that a million times. Shows that Holtzclaw vehicle just north of Northeast 24th on Miramar and stays south of Northeast 25th Street. The times that his vehicle is there are from 2111 to 2115 hours. Funny how she's using military time in her report, but in the AVL it gives standard time. That's strange to me. Doesn't matter.
That's weird.
It just kind of weird. This coincides with their statement that he pulled in the grass on Miramar and assaulted her. It does not coincide with it. Coincides with her statement, but it doesn't mean it happened. He also prepared a DVD with the AVL movie for the case file. And that's a big thing in the trial, and it's a movie. I don't know. I guess that's the only way to say it, but it kind of is a beeping locator, like literally showing flashes of when he's driving, and it's kind of strange. I don't think it's fair to use that, especially if, like Kay had mentioned a while back, every time they pull an AVL record from, the same stop or the same travel, it changes it just a little bit. The points change just a little bit. So to me, it would be the same on the movie. But I don't know. That's just my thought. But anyway, they had a movie of the path of travel. Sergeant Hill also provided with the radio traffic from the stop. Holtzclaw puts himself out over the radio on a traffic stop at Northeast 14th and Kellum at 2048 something. We know that. He gave tag number 405 KLA. This tag number checks the Ford, blah, blah, blah. This radio traffic was put in the case file. Officer Holtzclaw advised dispatch he was 1014, which means he was transporting somebody to an area near Northeast 23rd and Miramar at 2103 hours, because he didn't know exactly where he was going, because she couldn't tell him an address. All she could do is point to the street and then point to the house. But he never went to the house because he wasn't there. He advised dispatch that he was 1097, meaning he arrived at 2425 Northeast 24th Street at 21:12 hours. This radio traffic was placed in the case file.
I thought it was 2111, they say, before, didn't they? 11 to 15 for 4 minutes.
Oh,
Let me look.
yeah. Or you're looking, Kay?
Mhm. What'd you
And
say
this
you
is-
thought it was, Susan?
I thought it was 2111, not 2112.
Yeah, Susan, I remember that as well.
Oh, it's right
It's right.
here.
It's right up there.
Yeah, the times his vehicle is there is from 21:11 to 21:15 hours.
Yeah. And then down there it says he arrived at 2112, which takes a whole minute off.
Yeah,
Even.
Yeah.
which is important. Minutes.
So he said
It's
3
are
minutes
important.
instead of 4. Yeah.
Yeah, there's more holes in this case than there is in a fucking sieve.
You know what?
In a sieve.
Oh, Siv.
You know a sieve.
Siv. Yeah.
Seb,
Okay, so that's the end of Hill in jail, or whatever his name was. Okay, this is then Holman and Davis go out to the location, and it says this is the address that Holtzclaw said on the radio when he put himself out, 10:14. Because of the size of the area of the bus barn, we were not able to determine where the assault took place.
what?
Well,
What?
Well, didn't
Because
she
of
tell him?
what?
What's that mean? She told him where the assault took
Yeah,
place,
she told
right?
him.
Because she knew exactly where he dropped her off.
yeah,
Right?
yeah.
That's weird.
But Kim and Holman need to make their own determination of where it took place so they can tell her
That's
that
right.
she was wrong.
You right. You right.
Okay. I went back to the office, contacted Regina over the phone. I asked her to get onto. Oh, this is so frustrating. I went back to the office and contacted Regina over the telephone. I asked her to get onto Google Maps so we could look at this area together. She said she was not comfortable using the internet, and she had Quentin Nolan, her son-in-law, help her. I bet she did. I had them pull up 2425th Northeast 24th Street. Regina said this was not the house she parked her car in front of. She scrolled the computer around the area and found the house she parked her car in front of. It was on the south side of the road, and it was the third house west of Miramar. And it's the house I showed you guys. I had her look at Miramar and the bus barn. I told her to explain where Officer Holtzclaw parked his vehicle when he assaulted her. She said he parked his car on the grass on the west side of Miramar in the side yard of 2425 Northeast 24th. When I was talking to Regina, she said she forgot to tell me she lost her driver's license during this encounter. She said the officer gave it back to her before he assaulted her. She thinks she put it in her pocket, and she thinks it fell out when she had to pull her pants down. Whatever. I also asked her about the lost apartment key. She said she discovered it was lost after she left the house at Northeast 10th and Lottie. End of that report. That's the shift lineup that.
I mean, even that doesn't make bloody sense.
No, it doesn't.
It wasn't on her car keys, I guess. Her apartment key. She said she drove her car.
We don't there. It's never really determined.
Dealt with. Yeah.
So
She could have locked her keys in her car or something.
yeah,
Uh-huh.
which is she could have, because anyway, I don't want to get ahead of myself here.
How do you misremember having a cop follow you home or to, wherever.
Yeah.
Oh, oops. Yeah, no. I
So
guess he
he's
gave me a ride.
So he's fake transporting her. He calls in a fake.
Right.
He puts himself out with her
Yeah.
and pretends that he's transporting her.
He lets
He's
her
already
drive
assaulted-
drunk.
Yeah, he's already assaulted her once, and he's going to rape her in a minute. So
Yeah.
he
Yeah.
makes sure he contacts headquarters a few times.
Lets them know
That makes sense.
exactly
Right.
where he's going to be. Yeah.
Jesus
And then
Christ.
the ABL just got off by several blocks or
Ah.
something.
Yeah. Oops.
Just in that one area.
It's that one
Yeah.
time.
I think it's interesting because she doesn't say when she calls the sister. She doesn't record when Regina calls her back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No dates are listed. Usually on the report
Oh, yeah.
is the first contact date. And if they went to interview her in Garland on the 13th, then they had to previously have had contact with her sister at least a day earlier.
Right.
So why wasn't that the date?
Right.
Isn't that how it usually works, Rhonda?
Yeah. Usually in a department in a county where everybody's not corrupt.
I mean, at least the date should be the date that Copeland called her back.
Yes.
Surely they're not saying that Copeland called her back on the 13th and they jumped in the car on the 13th and went to Garland.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed.
I seriously doubt that. Yeah.
I mean, she should have documented that when.
How far is Garland from Oklahoma
Oh,
City?
it's
That's got to be
probably-
a couple hours, huh?
I think it's like 3 hours.
Yeah, that's quite a ways.
Yeah. Okay, so
Going there on Saturday.
you are
Oh, yeah.
going to Garland?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Yeah.
for Stacy?
Super Bowl.
Oh, whoa.
party.
Oh,
It's
Sundays.
in-
Okay. Oh, wait a minute.
Oh,
So confused. Yes, the Super Bowl. I'm excited.
Super Bowl party.
Kansas City Chiefs.
Not
are
the
playing.
actual Super Bowl in Garland, Texas.
Not the actual.
Oh, no, it's in Arizona.
Oh, okay.
Should be going the wrong direction.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. So then on 10/14, Holman and Davis go out to the Oklahoma City Public School bus storage facility to find out if they have surveillance cameras. Went to the security office. They do have cameras, but nothing that shows outside of the bus lot.
God damn. Wouldn't that be awesome?
Yeah.
So it does have security. If they went to a security office, then it's got security.
But I don't think they have it at like after hours. I
Doesn't
think
mean
during
they
the
have
day
a guard
they do.
there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
But they have
Right, okay.
video, but nothing that showed outside of the bus barn itself. Okay, so then this just lists the pictures that Kim and Valerie took, and they're different pictures than the ones that I took because they can't risk, not all of them, they have some that are the same, but they couldn't have taken the same pictures I took because then they would have, you guys would have seen that there were lights. That they wouldn't have made it not so dark. Okay, so this is an interview with Tammy Summers. Tammy is the relative who lives in the house with the big white arrow that I was showing you.
Okay.
The relative's
cousin?
house. So on 10/15, Holman and Davis went to 2416 Northeast 24th Street to verify the people in this house were related to Regina Copeland. Tammy Summers answered the door. She was confirmed that they were related. Tammy said she has lived in this residence for a little over a year. Tammy and Regina, okay, and then that just talks about the relationship. Tammy said her mother died on 4/18/14. Tammy's mother did. They had the funeral on 4/25. She said the Saturday before Easter, 4/19, Regina came to her home to visit. She said Regina was in and out of her house 3 different times because she was going other places. And she also said that Regina had been drinking. She finally had to ask Regina to leave her house and property because of the way she was acting as a result of her drinking.
Wow.
Yeah, and I'll just tell you right now, Tammy does not like her cousin Regina very much.
What day was the Holtzclaw stop?
The 25th.
Okay.
And like I said, this whole funeral thing and people dying is a big deal in trial because it got really confusing in cross-examination. Drinking. Yeah. So she said Regina couldn't find her keys and was blaming it on Tammy and Tammy's sister. Tammy said she and her sister left to go to Remington Park Casino. They were at the casino at least an hour. Who's just at least an hour?
For
at a
1
casino?
hour? Yeah.
I'm at a casino for a
Come
day.
There
Right.
you go. They probably had to call a wrecker to come get the keys that were locked in the car.
Yeah.
I wonder if we ever checked to see if they actually towed the car.
Yeah, we hear that it was towed. Well, Regina says that it was towed from in front of her sister's house.
Is there any questioning about that in the Cherie, do you recall at trial? Was there any questioning about or any confirmation that there was actually a tow truck? Had to have her call a tow truck to pick up her car, as opposed to did they call a tow truck or did they call a key company to come and unlock her car because the keys were locked in it?
Cherie, you're muted if you're trying to talk.
I don't remember seeing anything about that.
I don't think that I just the only thing that we're going to hear about in here is going to be the tow truck. As far as I know, I don't know about the transcripts, and I don't
Is this
know.
supposed to be the same day of the funeral when they go to the casino? The day of the
came to visit.
supposed alleged assault?
No, she went to the casino the Saturday before Easter.
Okay, on the 19th.
I think it was the Saturday before Easter.
Oh, okay. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah. Because that was the last time they saw her, was on the 19th.
Okay.
Yeah. She couldn't find her keys. She'd have to go to room. She said they arrived back at her house between 5 and 6, between 5 hours and 6 hours.
That's 5 a.m. 0500?
Yeah,
And
that's
0600?
5 a.m. So that's more than at least an hour. I don't know. I'm kind of confused.
Well,
Maybe they were there 10 hours.
maybe
Yeah.
you lose
That's a
track of
typo.
time when you're at a casino.
Huh?
You lose track of time
You
when you're
lose
in a
track of
casino.
time.
Yeah.
And this is again on the 19th. Regina was still there sitting in her Ford Escape vehicle. So this is on the 19th. She said Regina had to call a tow truck to pick up her car because she never found her keys. Regina left with the tow truck driver. She was mad at Regina because she had left a lot of trash from her vehicle in Tammy's front yard. She said she has not seen Regina since the 19th.
What?
So the tow truck driver brought her back to the house? I'm confused.
No,
Yes.
Tammy
That-
says Regina called a tow truck to pick up her car because she never found her keys. Regina left with the tow truck driver. She was mad at Regina, so
because she had left trash from her vehicle in Tammy's front yard. Well, how could she leave trash in the vehicle in the front yard if she couldn't open the fucking motor?
Earlier?
The car wasn't even there.
well, this is the 19th.
Huh?
I told you it's really confusing because Tammy Summers said that the last time they saw I think it's in the trial transcript, or it's in farther down in the police report. I can't remember, but she said that the last time they saw Regina was the Saturday before Easter. Was Saturday, was the 19th of April. So all of this stuff about the key being lost and everything else and blah, 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 all apparently happened before the 25th.
On the 19th
It
or
happened on the
20th
19th.
or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so she's at the casino. Her sister leaves. She leaves Regina at the casino, sitting in her Ford
No.
Escape.
Regina didn't go to the
Regina
casino,
didn't go
did
to the
she?
casino.
Well, then why
Tammy
is
and
that in
her
that
sister.
paragraph?
Tammy and her sister.
Tammy
Yeah.
and Tammy's sister. She couldn't find her, would blame it on Tammy and Tammy's sister. Tammy said she and her sister left to go to this casino.
Right. And it says that she says that they arrived back at the house between 5 and 6 o'clock in the morning. Regina was still there, sitting in her Ford Escape vehicle. She said Regina had to call a tow truck to pick her up.
That doesn't make
Oh,
any
so-
sense.
So she
Because she
lost
never
her
found the
keys.
keys.
If this is on the 19th, yeah. How does a tow truck? How does she get in her car?
If she's
You know,
lost her
maybe-
keys. Exactly,
maybe-
Susan. How could she be sitting in the car if she's lost her keys?
Well, she can be sitting in her car if she's lost the keys. She just can't drive it because she's lost her keys.
Well, she obviously did because Regina hadn't seen her since, or Tammy hadn't.
Yeah, that's
seen
what
her
I'm saying.
since.
This whole key loss thing it happened on the 19th, but it's being made to sound like it happened on the 25th to imply that Daniel had taken her keys, is what I think this whole little clusterfuck is.
She left with the tow truck driver, so he comes, picks up her and her car and takes her somewhere with her car.
And that's all we know.
I guess.
That's all we get to know.
But when they got home, she was sitting in her car in front of the house.
Exactly.
Yeah, she can be sitting in her vehicle, but not have the key to drive it. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, but okay.
I mean, unless we're seeing that it says she locked her truck and her car and couldn't, whatever, but it's implying that she was just sitting in her car, but
And
didn't
then a
have
tow truck driver came and got her and took her somewhere.
Yes, and took the car somewhere to get a key made or whatever lie. Whatever. This whole shit thing in here with Regina and the key is a lie.
Yeah, it is. It's got to be because it's not making bloody sense.
Yeah.
I mean, surely, do you leave your motors open when you go in your house?
Oh, some people
Maybe the car was getting repoed. And Regina told her it was a tow truck.
Possibly. Well,
because
I don't know.
I mean, you need the key to open the bloody door to be able to get in to put it in the ignition to turn the bloody ignition on.
That you're assuming that the car was locked when you say that, though.
Right.
We can't. You know what I mean? This is implying that the vehicle was unlocked.
Yeah.
And
but
she
no
was just
key.
sitting in it, but didn't have a key because it was lost to drive it away.
But she had a key then by the 25th. She was driving again, right?
Yes. But that's why I'm saying the whole thing about the key being lost is a fucking lie. It's all a lie. And you know, some way or other, Tammy is kind of spilling the beans that she doesn't know that, but you know, she's making it. I mean, it's obvious that, that
I think she was probably drunk and just thought, lost them and then found them. I don't know.
Well, she blamed Tammy and her sister.
Yeah.
For having lost the key.
Right.
So
liar, pants on fire.
Were they pulled up or were they pulled down? I'm just kidding.
Don't care. They're still on fire.
So anyway, then it goes into talking about the funeral. Tammy's mother's funeral, and let's see, the funeral was at 1100 hours. After the funeral, she went to her mother's house and fell asleep in a chair. This is Tammy. She said she didn't go home, and this was on the 25th, the day of the alleged assault.
Mm-hmm.
Once she got home, she went to bed. She never saw Regina's vehicle in front of her house that day, but stated that she went to bed and didn't go outside on the 25th. Tammy said she heard from her sister that on the day of the funeral, Regina was driving crazy up and down Creston Drive throughout the day. Tammy attributed it to her drinking problem. Tammy has not seen or heard from Regina since 4/19/14.
And
So
where is
there's,
Creston Drive? Is that
it's just in
That's
the
that
area.
neighborhood.
It's a neighborhood,
okay?
Kristen Hills neighborhood.
Okay.
That's where the rapey schoolyard's there too. I just like saying that.
And the empty parking lot where she liked to get drunk.
Oh no,
What day?
that's somewhere else.
What day was she driving crazy up and down the street?
On the 25th.
25th.
Okay.
Tammy didn't see her, but she was told by her sister. Tammy's sister told her that she had, because Tammy was asleep in the chair at her mom's house the day of the funeral. Whew.
Didn't she
Wow.
supposedly come to Oklahoma for the funeral? Or
Well,
she
there's
hadn't moved yet, had she? Never mind.
No.
No,
And there's another funeral in there too, though. Somebody else in the family died on Regina's side of the family, not on Tammy's side of the family. So that's where it got turned into a big old 5, 6, 8, 10-page thing in the trial. It was ridiculous.
Liam's asking, so where did she park her car the night Daniel escorted her back home?
where she was stopped.
Where she,
at
14th and
14th and
Kellum.
Kellum. Right where he stopped her. He made her leave her car right there and get in his car.
I have no idea what's going on. I don't know what that is, but just ignore it over there. I don't know what it is.
And I'm sure she told Daniel, don't drop me right at the house. Because, Tammy was not happy with her and she wasn't going there.
Yeah. Well, and Tammy had told her not to come back because she didn't like her being there drunk all the time.
Daniel was sensitive to the fact that women, because he would get people in his car to talk to him about the drug activity going on. So this isn't the first time that we've heard about him dropping someone in a place where a whole bunch of people wouldn't see them getting in a police car.
I understand that. Yeah.
That could have been something he just did on his own.
True.
Yeah.
True.
Well, and we hear evidence of that in Kayla Lyle's story. So, okay. So on 10/15, Detective Holman and I ran a metal detector along the east side yard of 2425 Northeast 25th Street. This was in an attempt to locate the key Regina lost if she lost it when she was assaulted. It was not determined if she lost it during the assault or at a later time when she went to Northeast 10th and Lottie to drink. We were unable to locate the key.
And this is 6 months later, right?
Yeah. So from April to October.
Yeah.
Yep.
Jesus.
I'm telling you, man, I got to jump in here and see who's still with us. It's awfully quiet. So we still have Kay, Alice, Susan, Jack, and what happened to Cherie? She left us.
She's in chat.
Okay. All right. Okay. So they were never able to find a key. The key. Okay. Now this is an interview with Sheila Hoppus, And well, it'll tell you. On 10/16, Kim Davis contacted Sheila Hoppus over the telephone. She is the owner of Hoppus Real Estate. Hoppus Real Estate owns Canterbury Garden Apartments, located where Regina lived, and when this assault occurred. So the apartment buildings where Regina lived at the time of the alleged assault. Sheila said Regina moved into the unit on 1/8/14. She was evicted in May of 2014. They went to her apartment on June 1st and discovered she had moved out. Sheila said there is no documentation of a lost key in Regina's file. She said she does have an employee, Cindy, that works for her, and Cindy lives in the Canterbury Garden Apartments. She said Cindy would remember if she had let Regina into her apartment. After the interview, they called Cindy Trulock. After interviewing Cindy Trulock, I called Sheila to find out when Regina was given the 5-day notice. She looked in the file and said that it was given on May 7th of 2014. So,
Case 10. I know a couple cops that can find the key. They don't need no metal detector.
That's no kidding.
that's funny.
Yeah.
That is
We can bring
so
them out of
funny.
we can bring them out of retirement right away.
Right.
Oh, that's funny. You guys are funny.
Cherie says that Kat also asked, didn't they show in trial how difficult it was for him to get his pants down? Did you guys already cover that?
No.
I
No, I did
mean,
not.
they did talk about, I do believe they did talk about all the gear that he wore, and it just explained what he would have had to do and how it wouldn't be, I just looked up and his penis was exposed.
Yeah.
It was just out.
Just there, magically appeared.
So yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think so too. I just don't remember at what point.
I just can't remember on the 6,000 pages right where it is.
Well,
I mean, there is no way with what Daniel wore. I mean, between the gun belt, and he would have to take the gun belt off. He would have to undo his trousers, and then he had braces on his shirt that was attached to his socks, and he had like high waist pants on. You know what I mean? There is no way in the time that they're saying, any of them are saying that he just whipped his dick out and it was there. There is no way that could happen with the clothes that Daniel was wearing, for crying out loud.
Yeah, it would have taken him 4 minutes to get out of that clothes.
Susan, it would have taken him about 4 or 5 minutes just to whip the kicks down and whap it out. You know, like you had to take everything off. That would have taken up at least 4 minutes and everything like that. I mean, if Daniel was able to do that in 4 or 5 minutes, then there's Daniel's new occupation when he gets out of jail, is to go to the strip clubs and show every stripper in a fucking nightclub how to whip off your kicks like that and whip it out like that in 4 minutes with all that stuff on.
So don't you think the most difficult part about being able to expose himself to expose his penis through the unzipped fly of his buckled pants would be that maneuvering your hand in through the zipper and getting the compression first getting the bulletproof vest part out of the way, and also the tank top, and then maneuvering your hand in those compression shorts because they didn't have a fly. I mean, just
There's
imagine.
just no way. There's
do
just no
that.
way. You couldn't.
No, no way in hell.
And then you've got Galen Gigger saying, no, DNA wouldn't be on the inside of his pants. Well, I mean, if he went to the bathroom like that, however
It sure
long it
would.
took, however long it took to do that in a real situation, going to the restroom, you'd have your hand all over the inside of your pants.
Mhm.
Anyway, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It is. I don't recall, says Katie, didn't one of the attorneys want him to physically demonstrate it?
Oh, Galen tried to tried to get a nude picture of him into the trial, but
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I don't know that. I know that he said in a new trial he would want to demonstrate it.
Yeah. Of course. And he should.
I could see Kim Davis doing that.
Oh, God, no kidding. Get a new picture of him with his penis. God, she's so fucking weird. Okay.
Yeah.
That was Gigger wanting that.
I don't
Why
know.
would he?
I remember something about it. I just don't remember everything around that part. Okay. I mostly am bringing up this part of the report because not so much because of what this is. David Copeland is her brother, and it's his Regina's younger brother.
The one
David
she
said,
supposedly told.
well, John is the first one that we were talking about. She slept on his couch. But David said that Regina called him last week, so a week before the 10th of October, 16th of October, and told him she had a case where a police officer told her to pull her pants down and he raped her. She said Regina told David she thought the officer was mixed with something. Oh my God.
Jesus.
She told him she asked the officer if he was Hispanic. I cannot, in my wildest imagination, imagine anybody asking a cop, "Are you Hispanic? Are you Asian? Are you Black? Are you Native American?" I can't even imagine that. That just is so.
I can. That's not that big
to
a
me.
deal.
Really? You would ask
Yeah.
a cop who pulled you over what race they were? Or you can think that somebody would do that?
Yeah, a drunk
Well, maybe, yeah.
woman high on crack. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, maybe. But she said that the officer told her it was none of her business. And I agree. If that did happen, I agree.
Liam in chat says, I've worn a level 3A stab protection vest for some clubs I worked. Going for a pee was a saga that could only be done in a stall, not at the urinal.
Yeah, I believe it.
Yeah.
I can imagine it.
Yeah. Yep, that makes sense to me. Okay. So Regina told David the officer was tall and big. That's it. Told him the officer raped her, but she was too scared to report it. She told him a detective called her about it. David said he told his wife and Molly, who was Molly Copeland. When he told Molly about his conversation with Regina, Molly said Regina had told her about it a long time ago, but nobody mentioned it to David. Oh, okay. Well, that's fine. I mean, I can see that. Okay. This is the interview with Cindy Trueluck. I just think she has the best name in the whole wide world.
Yeah.
I contacted Cindy Trueluck over the telephone. She works for Hoppus Real Estate and lives in the Canterbury Garden Apartments. Cindy said she's worked for the Hoppus Real Estate for the past year, and she has lived in the apartments for the past 7 or 8 months. She said she remembers Regina Copeland as one of their tenants. She said she has let Regina into her apartment on 2 occasions. Both occasions occurred within days of each other. and we don't have dates. So before we start thinking, on both occasions, Regina knocked on her door and asked her to unlock her apartment because she had given her son the key. Cindy told Regina there was a $25 charge for letting someone into their unit. Regina didn't have the money, and Cindy said she let the fee slide. She said the $25 is just a fee for the person who has to let the tenant in their apartment, and since she lives on the site, she didn't charge her. That's the reason I would have charged her. You're calling
Right.
me out of my house, watching, making a murder, and I have to go let you in your apartment.
Because you gave your son the key? I mean, come on.
Oh, she's just making something up to
Yeah.
have a
Yeah.
reason to let her in. I got drunk and lost my key.
Yeah.
Wouldn't sound as good as I loaned it to my son.
I gave it to my son.
I
Exactly.
used to blame all kinds of stuff on my kids.
Oh, geez. Cindy
Man.
doesn't remember when this occurred. She gave me a time frame stating a few days after she let Regina into her unit, Regina was given a 5-day notice. So we know that happened on May 7th. So it had to have been around the first part of May that it happened.
Right.
So she explained a 5-day notice is a letter, blah, 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 blah. Cindy said she gets her mail at 6902 Northwest 32 Bethany, Oklahoma for subpoena purposes. And I don't know if that means that's where Cindy gets her mail or if that's where Regina gets her mail. I'm not sure what the
Oh, I
purpose
think that's
was.
probably Cindy's. Yeah.
It's Cindy, yeah.
Oh, for subpoena
Yeah.
purposes, duh.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you, Lord. Okay, this is the interview with John Copeland. John said sometime during the summer, Regina came to his house during the nighttime hours. She had lost her keys and asked to spend the night on his couch. He said Regina looked upset when she arrived at his house. She told him she, quote, got pulled over by an officer and he made her pull her clothes down, end quote. Regina told him this occurred on the east side of town. She told him the cop was, quote, messing with her, end quote. She did not give him any details other than the officer making her pull her clothes down and messing with her. John said when Regina called him about a week ago, she asked him if he remembered when she spent the night with him when she lost her keys. John told her he remembered. This is all so convenient. Regina told him that she hadn't told him everything. He said Regina told him the, quote, cop raped her, end quote. John said Regina didn't originally want to tell him because he wouldn't have reacted very well. And I would have said, go get him, big brother. Go beat his ass. Absolutely. There's just no way. Okay, this gets really like confusing and kind of like with Tammy Summers. So I'll just try to. So Molly is married to John and or David. Molly and David, Regina's younger brother, are married. Somebody's popping into StreamYard. Let me see who it is. It's Cherie. There you are. Welcome back. Okay. So they've been, and so Molly said she remembers a night during the summer of 2014. Regina called and needed a ride. She said David had to pick Regina up on a few occasions but he'd always gone by himself. This time, Molly went with them. She said they picked Regina up somewhere on Northeast 23rd Street. Molly explained that Regina has an alcohol and drug problem. She's been in trouble with the law. When they picked Regina up, David was fussing at her, telling her how she needed to straighten up her life. Molly said Regina told him the police officer pulled her over and made her take off her pants. She said David was frustrated with Regina and told her, quote, ain't no police going to make you take off your pants, end quote. David also told her, because he was right. David also told her if the officer was going to search her, he had to have a female officer present with them. Molly said she interpreted Regina's statements that this incident occurred on an earlier date, not the date they picked her up. Molly said Regina told him there was not a female officer with him and said the officer raped her. Molly said David blew it off. She said he was frustrated with Regina. Regina had been on one of her binges and he ignored it. I think David's the smartest one in this whole thing.
Mm.
Molly said Regina also told her other brother, John, she said nothing came of that either. Since both brothers didn't make mention of it, she didn't either. Molly said she and David saw in the news the information about the Oklahoma City police officer raping women. She said they still didn't put it together. She said after Regina talked to me and contacted David and told him the Oklahoma City police officer raped her, David told Molly about this conversation he had with Regina. Molly told David she remembers Regina making that statement earlier in the summer. She asked David if he remembered it, and he did not because he knew she was full of shit. That's my opinion. So that's the warrant for that assault. That's what, like I was saying, these are all kind of not very good in a timeline. Okay. So this is, I believe it's Officer Jail or Jill or whatever. Let me see. Yeah, David Jail, whatever. So this is his statement. On 9/12/14, I was assigned while still on restricted duty to assist the Investigations Bureau, specifically to the Sex Crime Unit. One of my duties was to assist Detective Davis in her case involving Officer Daniel Holtzclaw. Davis said several of Holtzclaw's victims were taken to and assaulted at an abandoned school in the area of Northeast 18th and Miramar. Now, remember when we were talking about Bowen last week or the week before? That in this part of the report for Bowen, this very same similar thing was said. I believe. I should have pulled that up.
Hey, they got this confused here. They mean, okay, the schoolyard is 18th and Highland.
Right.
What this?
Why does it say Miramar?
Why are they
in the area of?
Well, yeah, that's not.
That's not the area.
Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I see what you're saying though. Unless he's meaning a very wide area.
Yeah, okay. So he's going to pull ABL?
Yeah. And this is not the first time
on
he's
9/12/14. Okay.
Mm-hmm. But if we look back at when what's her name's assault was Bowen's, which was April, March, or May. Anyway,
seems like it was April 21st, maybe
the 21st. Yeah. So Kim Davis has already told jail. How do you say his name, Kay? Do you know?
I don't. We decided to call him Jelly.
Jelly sounds good to me.
Yeah.
I'd like to go back. I need to go back and see what that date was, because she's going to do the same thing here again with for Regina Copeland. In my opinion, if I'm thinking right, she already has that information, but I could be wrong. It's happened.
You notice the report date is the same date they went to Texas, isn't it? The other ones?
Well, it's going to say reported date. It's always going to say that.
Oh.
And then
this is about the same. Yeah.
Yeah, the report date is per the accuser. So
yeah, okay.
If they're talking about Copeland, it's always going to say 10/13/14.
Okay.
And then the occurrence date obviously is when they determined that the assault happened.
Right.
Even though they have days, weeks, months to change and add.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I'm looking at this now. Cherie, are you able to, or Kay, are either of you able to look at the police report for Bowen and look at this part to see what date Jelly was asked to get this information. Anyway, Davis said several of Holtzclaw's victims were taken to and assaulted at an abandoned school. Yeah, the Miramar isn't near the abandoned school in that way. Oh, God, I can't remember now. Anyway, Detective Davis said she had requested the AVL of Holtzclaw's vehicle when he was in the area of 18th and Miramar from 1/18/14 to 6/18/14. So in the area, I don't know. I might have to pull up my Google map again. Detective Davis passed these records on to me. Davis asked me to compile a spreadsheet of each time he was at the park. Additionally, she asked me to look through all of the females Holtzclaw ran for wants and warrants through CIU and see if I could locate any females that were ran around the time he was in the area of the abandoned school. I'm guessing, you know what, Bowen's must have been this date.
Bowen's report date 10/16/14, occurrence date May 22nd, 14. I'll look for his report. Go ahead.
In compiling the spreadsheet, I noticed that Holtzclaw ran Copeland at 8:53 p.m. through CIU for wants and warrants on 4/25, and we know that because he called it in. Additionally, his AVL records placed him in the area of Northeast 18th and Miramar at 21:08. 18th and Miramar. That's not a. Okay, well, I'll look at the map later. In light of these two facts, I told Davis that Regina Copeland could possibly be a person of interest in the attempt to locate further victims in the Holtzclaw investigation. I gave Davis Regina Copeland's Varuna print off with her most up-to-date information. Oh, that's a little note that I made there because it was kind of bugging me. And then that's the end of the report. And then we have those AVL pictures.
We'll see, because the way that Sarita Bowen reported was through her minister.
Right.
And she came forward technically. The only thing about AVLs is from Sergeant Hill. 10/10/14, Sergeant Hill sent me the AVL for the different locations for Holtzclaw's vehicle on 5/21/14. Sarita stated Holtzclaw stopped her on Highland near Northeast 16th Street. Blah, da, 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 da. Let me continue, but.
Okay, well,
oh, sorry.
No, go ahead, please.
Oh, here it is.
Go ahead, Kay.
Here's Jelly's report. On 9/12/14, I was assigned, on 9/12/14, I was assigned while still on restricted duty to assist the Investigations Bureau specifically. I was assigned to assist the Sex Crimes Unit of the Investigations Bureau. One of my duties was to assist Detective Davis in her case involving Holtzclaw. Davis mentioned to me a few victims they had heard about, but had not identified or located yet. Davis said they received the following two tips. First, one of the possible victims Davis had previously interviewed was Tina Mosley. Mosley, while on the phone with Davis, said she was not a victim, but she had heard Sharita was a victim and then hung up the phone. Second, in an interview with Great, another victim in the Holtzclaw case, Great mentioned to Davis that Chardine's mother was a victim of Holtzclaw. Rosetta described Chardine as tall, blah, 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 and that she had been to the Oklahoma County Jail before. In preparing a spreadsheet for Davis of the females and run through CIU, I noticed a Bowen Sarita was run by Holtzclaw on 5/21/14. The name Sarita sounded very familiar to me as Sharita. I passed the name on to Detective Davis in light of the aforementioned tip she had received. Additionally, I searched several databases for Chardine in an attempt to help Davis locate the victim Great had mentioned. In the eJustice database, I searched Chardine and located a Bowen Chardine with a DOB 4484. Description of Chardine in eJustice was blah blah. In one of the pictures of her in eJustice, I could see she had green eyes. Checking through associates listed in Varuna for Bowen, I was able to establish Chardine's mother was Sarita Bowen. So I'm confused about these reports back to the present case with Copeland. So Jelly's saying he was assigned to investigate this case. Davis said several of Holtzclaw's victims were taken to and assaulted at an abandoned school. Why are they even talking about that?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Because that's not, yeah, okay, it's not far, but it's not.
Well, to make it sound like it's in that area is just, I don't know.
I guess it sounds ominous if it's an abandoned schoolyard or a bus yard.
Yeah.
Because,
Yeah.
That boarded up house.
The boarded up house. And if
Yeah,
you
that
notice,
was
the
just
windows
dull.
on the house are boarded up. Those windows were not boarded up. Those were just window like slats. Like, anyway.
Oh,
No, it is. It was siding. The window holes were covered with siding.
Siding. Yeah. But she makes it sound like it was boarded up, and so
I would call it boarded up.
Okay.
I mean, if I were explaining that house, I would say the windows were boarded up.
Okay.
I mean, they were painted, but.
Well, you did drive by it though, didn't you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. So, wow, I've missed a lot in chat. I feel so bad. I haven't.
I was looking at the Julie report there, and it maybe it's just me, but when you had it up there, it says that Kim requested all these ABL from 1/18 to 6/18 of 2014, and she passed them to Julie, or however you say his name, and he got the Varuna and whatever else too, but that's when then he found Regina. But then at the end of the paragraph he says, and he gives her only the Varuna, which I highly doubt, but it sounds like she had I mean, we know she did, but it sounds almost like they're telling on themselves there with she had the ABL. She passed it to Julie. She didn't look at it though. She was honest.
Yeah, she didn't.
Well, there is to telling on themselves, and
that's what see, that's what I was wondering when I was looking at that date. I was like, no, something's not right here, and it's not that it's not right. It is right because it shows there's definitely a little slip there that it was very likely. That she had looked at the ABL, which they deny. So,
she requested them. She requested ABL records. 118 to 618.
Catnip, I see that did you get rid of that guy? Phaedrax, welcome. It's so great to have you here.
What do we have?
Yeah. I deleted his comment right away, Rhonda, and then Catnip hit him. And then it's also saying in chat that you've timed him out for 300 seconds.
Yeah, I want him, I didn't mean to time, well, Catnip hit him, but I want him like blocked, so.
Who was it? What was the name?
01MM10. I think it's somebody from Johnny's video. I'm pretty sure it is. It's fine. If he comes back, though, if he does come back, Catnip hit him, so hopefully he's just gone. But if he does come back, just block him.
Yeah, well, I seen the comment in chat that he put, and I deleted it right away. So, yeah, I've been waiting for him to post something else. But I didn't know if just with me hiding him, he could put anything in the chat. So, but yeah, we've got enough arseholes in this case. We don't need any more in chats.
Exactly. Oh boy, Phaedrax says, "Hi guys, I know nothing about this case. It's time I looked at it." Yes. It is time you looked at it. But
send him to Bates.
Yeah, Bates Investigates podcasts. I have no doubt that Catnip will be able to get that link pretty doggone quick. Because
she's saying, "What have I done?" It's like, no, you've not done
you haven't done anything.
No, you've not done nothing. But this case is just as bad, if no worse, than the Stephen and Brendan case. The lies that are told, the changing of statements, police gone and looking for victims instead of victims coming forward, and an innocent man has been sent to jail for 263 years for something that he's not done. So yes, I would go with if Catnip can put it in, because I'm on my phone now. If Catnip can put it in, start off with Bates Investigates. It's fantastic. Just listening to it if you're doing your housework or your dishes or on the school run or whatever, and just listening to it, because the explanations and the way he does it is absolutely brilliant. And then you should get caught up, no bother. I think there's 24 episodes, Rhonda, or something that he's done so far, and there's meant to be more coming.
Yeah. Now that the civil trial's wrapped, he should start putting them out soon, although he is a little bit overcommitted right now.
Yeah, well, whatever, as soon as I wish he could have gotten to it before I had to start, or before we had to start doing our own work. No, I mean, because
for you.
No, it is. In all the other ones that we've covered so far, we've had Bates podcasts to go off of to, borrow, quotes and work and share. And now we don't have that. So with these last three,
I think if you know nothing about this case, I think it's a lot easier to start with Daniel in the Den, because
well, it'll definitely pique your interest.
It'll give you the overview of everything. You know what I mean?
That's a good point.
And then Bates gets so detailed into each person that, in order to get a good overview, I think Daniel.
Yeah, good idea, Susan. Yeah, good idea. Start with Daniel in the Den.
Yeah.
Because I think that's how I started, was with Daniel in the Den.
Me too.
Because Rhonda had recommended it, was Daniel in the Den. So I watched Daniel in the Den, and then the Bates podcast came out. I was referred to that as well. So yeah, fantastic idea. Anybody that wants to start off with Daniel in the Den and then go on to the podcast.
Katniss got the link.
Dropping the links there for you, Phaedrax. yeah, either way you want to go. But yeah, I mean, I guess I can kind of see. Well, Jack knows how well Daniel in the Den works, right, brother? Jack.
Well, yeah.
Jack had suggested to me about 2.5 years ago, something like that, to check out Daniel in the Den, and here I am.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. And here we are.
Here we are.
And then Rhonda said, "This is my case. I'm taking it."
I did. I really did. I said, "That's it. This is the one." I was, I knew just from watching that and then listening, I knew that I had to follow this through. So, and then Cherie jumped right on board. Cherie and I didn't even, we knew of each other, but we didn't really know each other. We knew of each other from way back in the Aracose days, and with Denise and Awen and everybody, when we would do, we would jump on the, what was that called? Google
Glowmam or something, like Ladies of Glowmam or something.
Well, yeah,
like
that too, but the Google chats that we would have or whatever. So anyway, so Cherie jumped on board, and then we got hooked up with Kay, and we are really, really deep in it and really, really happy to do it. So, yeah. Wow. Well, I'm glad we did. I'm not going to even start with the transcripts tonight because it would be another 2.5, 3 hours, and I'm not doing that.
You want to play the radio traffic though?
Yes, I do. I don't know if I downloaded those, Kay. I might have to get them I'll grab them. Hang on 1 second. We're going to play the radio traffic of the calls that Daniel, when he called in all of the radio traffic the night of her alleged assault. If I can put my hands on them easily, because I know were we chatting?
That was in an email.
Oh yes. Like, remind me where I got that. I can't remember.
That's where.
Okay.
So,
email.
What's going on, Jack, what do you got going on?
What do you mean?
What do you have coming up show-wise?
Oh, down the road. Well, probably for this Sunday, since it's Super Bowl, I'm probably not going to do anything, but probably I'm going to try to do one night next week back into the 2005 civil depositions. I can't remember who it is coming up, but we're pretty dry. But I think the one's coming.
Wasn't it Perry Kingsbury? Wasn't he one of them coming up?
Coming up, but I think he's the first one. I think there's another one because he's that Kingsbury is the actual sheriff, captain of the Manitowoc City Police in 2005 when they're doing the depositions, and he'd been there for like 3 years or something. I think we got David Hartman, and I think there's another one. And did we do Hartman?
Oh, yeah, we did Hartman last week, didn't we?
I don't know. I've read too much. I got brain mush going on. You have to forgive me.
Oh, yeah, tell me about it.
Get that.
Let's see.
We're all like, "Yep."
Hey, we know that one.
Yeah.
I can tell you right now. We did Beck. We did Lynn Zygmunt. Yeah, we got David Hartman and Perry Kingsbury.
So Jack's talking about, for anyone who's not familiar, Jack does an open mic with the foul play on the foul play channel about the Stephen Avery case.
Yep, mainly. Yep, and we cover other cases too, but it's mainly been about Stephen Avery, Brendan's terrible situation. So, but right now, anyone that's followed his case at all knows in 2000, Avery filed a civil suit in October 2004 because the AG said Manitowoc didn't do anything wrong. So the only way he could get relief was to file a civil suit. Well, that's went into all kinds of things, just like any civil suit, discovery and blah, blah, blah. Then they came to the day it lasted basically for about 6 months or so in 2005. There's a whole lot of behind the story stuff that never, ever came out. But, even these depositions that, we can extract various pieces of really good information. Some, like I said, the last two were pretty nothing, pretty dry. But we know, now we know. So they're interesting, if nothing else.
Yes. Agreed.
So maybe, not on Sunday because it is, like I said, it's Super Bowl. And I know a lot of people watch that, even if it's just for the commercials, like me.
I watch it for the freaking game. Are you kidding me?
Well, yeah,
Well,
depending on the team,
say, when it's Kansas City playing anyway.
I'm definitely pulling for Kansas City, so I'll probably will watch this one. So maybe on Monday, we can do the open mic because Monday's generally pretty dead. So not much. So how about that?
Okay.
How about Monday?
Monday sounds good.
Sounds good.
Yeah,
awesome.
Better than
Thanks, Kay.
I'm gonna play this first one. Sorry. Are we good?
Yeah.
Sorry. Okay.
No, knock yourself out.
Okay. Well,
Ooh.
hang on 1 second while it's not gonna play it that way. I'll just have to play it from my email. It's fine. It won't let me play it from that. Okay, so
what are you playing?
some of the calls, the radio traffic from Daniel that night. I don't know if I should share the screen of it. I don't know that
I think you have to say you're sharing the audio, right?
Yeah.
That box.
Yeah. But I'm going to try to do it just from the email, and I'll turn it up so that you can hear it, hopefully, because I can't download it into the program I was putting it in. So you'll have to listen really close. And maybe what I'll do, and I wanted to do that for this week, what I'll do is for next week, I'll put them all into one recording so you can hear it really well. But let me try it like this and see what we can get. I believe this one is when he stopped her, 14th and Kellum. So here we go.
Can't hear it.
Okay. You couldn't hear it?
I did not.
Nothing.
Okay, let me Jack?
Well, if it's too much of a hassle, we can do it next time.
Yeah, it won't let me play it from my email, and let me see if it'll let me play it, choose another.
You have to extract the file and use a player and mount your player.
Let me see if it'll let me choose a different player. I think it'll let me do Legacy, Windows Legacy. Okay, hold on.
Friday, April.
There it is.
Oh, you can hear it now? Okay,
Mhm.
perfect. All right, here we go.
Friday, April 25,
Wonder Run, North
2014,
11, Copeland, Charles,
20,
Ocean, Paul, Edward,
53,
Lincoln, Adam, Laura, David.
16
First name is
seconds.
Regina, that's Robert, Edward, George, Adam, Laura, Adam. Date of birth is 9/7/59, Blackfield.
Sounds pretty rapey.
Okay, that's the first one. Let me grab the other ones.
Headquarters.
So that's his.
About to rape
That,
this girl. Just wanted to let
that's
you
his.
know.
That's his rapey voice. Okay. All right.
Out with Regina Copeland, getting ready to make her pull her pants down. Hot down there. Sorry.
And then get
Inserting,
going down
inserting
there,
penis into vagina.
Oh God.
banging head off roof multiple times.
You have
Okay,
to
we're
laugh. It's so
ridiculous.
ridiculous.
Sorry, I started it.
You did.
Yes,
I
look
did
what you
start
did.
it.
It's just
That's
so
right.
ridiculous. It's
I'm
just
supposed to
such
be
a
the adult here.
ridiculous story.
You're supposed to be keeping me in line.
I know it. I started that. That usually would be you.
Right? Just rubbing off on you.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Hey,
Very.
welcome to the dark side. Okay,
Now we
here-
just all we need to get is we need to get Neverly in here,
Oh, God.
and that's it.
Oh, we'd be in big trouble. Okay, this one is I think this is when he's 10-14, if I'm not mistaken, which means he's transporting her. So let's see.
Friday, April 25,
14 in the area, 20 meters near mine. I thought it was at 20, what I get there.
and 20 seconds.
So yeah, that's when he was, and he said he would call him back when he gets there.
I'll give you the exact 20 when I get there. That's
there.
why I think because he did give him the exact 20, that he shined his lights on the front of that house when he pulled up.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Okay, let me just make sure really quick. Hold on.
T1's joined us in chat. Hi, T1. Nice to see you.
Hey,
Hey,
T1.
T1.
Okay, this one is. Okay, this is. Oops. Oh, I got it. Whoa, settle down, Rhonda. Jeez. Okay, this is his. Okay, here we go.
Friday, April 25, 2014, 21, 12, and 40.
So I'll play that one again. That's when he arrived, and when, like Kay said, when he was probably looking at the address. I'll play it again because it goes fast. It's kind of hard to understand.
Friday, April 25, 2014, 21, 12, and 40.
What's he say at the end there?
I think it was his ending mileage.
Yeah,
But he says the address,
Okay.
and then I think he says ending mileage.
yeah.
It's hard to
T1.
understand.
Let's try one more time.
T1 in chat.
Oh my God.
Oh Jesus! Now I gotta stop what I'm doing so I can come over here and see what the hell is T1 doing.
T1. Well, he came into chat, and Case 10 says to him, T1, do you know what you're getting into here, lol? And he's like, wow, did I show up at a bad time? And then he's put penis, penis, vagina, vagina. There, I'm caught up in chat.
T1. Oh my gosh! Yeah, pretty much, right? Pretty much. Okay. And then I think there's just one more. God save me, help me.
And what
Let's
is
see
the next one?
I'm not really sure. We're gonna find out together.
Okay.
Oh crap. Okay, these are all WAV files, and so I need to probably just convert them as all. Okay, here we go.
Friday, April 25, 2014, 20, 38, and 11.
Oh, okay, that's just when he got to when he stopped at 14 in Kellam. So that probably should have been the first one.
Right.
Yeah.
And the only one that I couldn't find was when he called in her information, the return on if she was clear or whatever, which she must have been. Can't find that one.
What does that mean, Phaedrax? Oh, well, if you came just to hear me giggle, I must have a funny giggle, I guess. Well, thank you. I'm going to take that as a compliment. No, we are at the dictator. Oh, yeah, I can't even say the P word. There's 2 words that I can't say, and that's what. Well, I can, like, if I'm really mad and I'm calling somebody that, I can say it, but otherwise, I'm not really very good at it.
You would call somebody a peanut?
No.
A peanut?
Remember when you were trying to explain to us about your sister's pussy?
Oh, that word. That P word.
That
Okay.
word. That P word.
Oh my God, you guys.
And it's not even funny because your sister
Sorry.
was really sick. And she put something
She
in a
was.
chat. I know, I'm not going to repeat it because she was really sick. But how do you spell pussy?
P-U-S-Y. Okay.
It's hysterical. Anyway, okay. Oh, okay. So, wow, lots of information tonight. And most of it was relevant to Regina Copeland's case. So, do we have any other questions or comments from the chat? Because you guys are amazing.
Liam was just saying about the voice that you hear with the time and the date going over it. Does that happen when Daniel's making it, like putting in the call? Does that come across his speakers and that, or is that just because we're listening to it that comes across?
No, it doesn't come across when he's doing it. When you get a recording of it, when you order a copy of it, it's an automated thing that timestamps when it's happening.
Yeah, when the call is.
It really is annoying.
Yeah, because you could hardly hear that last one. You could hardly hear him saying, arriving and stuff like that because of that timestamp and that's gone across.
Right. That's why in that thing that we were reading, it said 20 something or 40 something, because she steps on, that automated lady steps on the words.
Yeah.
Or whatever I'm trying to say.
Whatever we're trying to talk about, because we don't
All
really
right.
know.
Right now, we're not talking about much.
Yeah, we're not. We're kind of just
get on out of here.
So, T1, we've been on for a little over 3 hours now, which I don't like to do. Foul play is freaking rubbing off on me. And so, but I also don't want to leave you hanging with a question either. Did any of the accusers have any STDs at the time of the alleged assault? And was Daniel Holtzclaw tested for any STDs when he was arrested and charged? As a matter of fact, he was tested and he did not have any STDs. He came back clean.
That's in the trial though, right? I think that all got addressed in the trial.
In the trial. Yeah, that may be. So, that could be it.
Do we know if any of the women had them?
Well, we can't talk about medical records.
Yeah.
Oh.
Unless it was mentioned in trial, I don't even know that they were. So, but yeah, we can't. I don't even know about the medical records. So but it just seems to me like they wouldn't test any of them. Because they are I don't know. You know what? I don't know.
No, I don't think they did test any of them.
I don't remember ever hearing anything. So
they Giger tries to make them like all homey and like, they're playing dominoes and stuff like that, So I probably didn't want to talk about STDs.
Cards and dominoes they were playing at 2:00 in the morning.
Ugh.
All right. Well, we'll be back with the transcript parts of this for next week then. And so if you have any questions or comments, please put them down in the comment section. Because I do check every day, multiple times a day. I want to make sure I'm catching all of your comments and questions. But as long as I just want to thank everybody on the panel, Kay, Susan, Alice, Cherie, Jack. It was great to have Susan back. It's great
Thank
to hear your
you.
voice again.
My
And
internet is working again pretty well.
yeah,
So,
you sound really good tonight. So
yeah.
we expect to have you back. And I'll get with you guys throughout the week and we'll pass out some reading assignments. Until next week, though. Well, don't forget, I don't know. Kay, what about Tuesdays? Do you know anything?
Don't know a thing. I mean,
Okay.
just I'll post it in Daniel's Truth if it's going to happen.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, you will have Boundless. You're going to have to write them all down, Phaedrax. Okay, so if you missed the first part, make sure you listen to it because there was some good information at the beginning. Thank you to everybody on the panel. Thank you, everybody in the chat. You guys had great comments and questions. Anybody on the panel? Kay, I know you just want to get out of here. I understand, and that's fine. Susan, anything else you want to say before we end tonight?
No, I think we're good.
All right. Alice.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, thanks. Just thanks for having us, Rhonda. It's been a fantastic podcast. Thanks to everyone in chat who's came. And just remember, do the YouTubey things. Like, share, subscribe. Tell your friends about Rhonda's channel. Let's try and get her to 500 subscribers.
Thank you. Cherie?
Thank you. It was a very good show, very interesting, and glad everybody could make it.
Thank you. And Brother Jack?
No, actually, I have to agree with Cherie. There's a lot of really interesting visual information, which is always great. So, really good stuff. And looking forward to reading, getting through some of these transcripts. So,
yeah, it'll be fun. And also, my manager is starting to make some YouTube shorts, so check those out when you see them drop. And until next Thursday at 5 p.m. Central, we out. Peace.
Good night.